Hello everyone, welcome to Frame Trap. We've got fun and games here. That's right, we're quoting Welcome to the Jungle. That's how we start this show. How's everybody doing? Today with me on the show, I've got Mr. Kyle Bosman.
Hi everybody.
Bradley Ellis.
Guns N' Roses quotes at the beginning?
I want people to know what they're watching
No.
and how they're watching.
No.
I want to set the tone immediately.
Somebody left. Click.
Yeah, oh yeah. That always happens. Every intro to the show, there's like, oh god, I can't put up with this, and then they close. And Michael Huber.
Hello.
How you doing? Huber, you have a lot of good shirts, a lot of good ones. That's one of my favorites. Can you, puff that out?
Yeah. I remember
Enhance.
seeing this. I was like, I'm buying that immediately.
Yeah, Fen of Pain.
Pre-launch.
Pre-launch.
Had no feelings about Fen of Pain.
Slightly
About that
different
shirt.
feelings, though.
Yep.
Pre-launch.
I feel like the last couple of Frame Traps, I haven't been playing that much, but we're in the fall season, and I've got so much that I've been playing, so much that I'm really jazzed about. Let's get right into it with Mr. Kyle Bossman. What have you been playing?
I've been playing a game I think no one will guess on this panel.
Ooh, do you want us to try?
What console?
PC.
Okay, no, I'll tell you which console, and
It's a PC
you
game.
might be able to guess. 3DS.
Yokai Watch 2.
No.
Dragon Quest VII.
No.
Is it a recently released game?
Fairly recent.
Oh, man.
What's
Monster Hunter.
No.
There's no way. What's a really weird, bizarre game that kind of like Elite Beat Agents or something?
I love Elite Beat.
Yeah,
Agents.
what
I
kind
also
of weird game like that is out right now?
I think that's, we can now judge people whether you like Elite Beat Agents or not. Like, that's the quality of human being you are.
Worth a shot. If it's at your store, check
just
it out.
joking.
It's very short, and you'll cry by the end. Metroid Prime Federation Force.
Oh, I didn't even know that was out.
Yeah, that's out. It's been out.
Oh my god.
That has been out. So I've got some things to say about this game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to praise it enthusiastically. Here's the thing. I'll just say this straight out. So Metroid Prime, you know I like to play games alone. I'm just that kind of person. Metroid Prime is good for that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, Kyle, you like to play games alone? Here's this game for you. You're an alone person, exploring environments. Love that. Metroid Prime Federation Force is not meant to be that.
Nope.
It is very clearly meant to be played with friends. There are accommodations for you if you're playing alone. You get this cool chip that makes you twice as powerful, and you get 3 little drones that help you attack people. Those work for the first part of the game. And I'm having a good time for the first part of this game. I'm exploring 3D environments. I'm feeling like a Metroid game. The music's kind of there. I'm feeling like I'm exploring these places. Cool. Doing cool missions, fighting cool bosses. Then, I get to the missions that are purposefully designed to be annoying.
Yes.
What does that mean?
So, I mean, there's 3 of them. There's that I just hit roadblock. I'm like, okay, I'll try a different one. What's cool is you get to pick which missions you're going to. Move this cart through this sandstorm. If you're not within this hut, the cart will get destroyed. Also, the space pirates are shooting at the cart. And so that's really hard to do alone. Mm-hmm. It's meant for multiple people. Go to this one spot. Hordes of enemies will attack this spot, and you just have to wait for a spaceship that's carrying missiles to appear. So just fight hordes, fight hordes of enemies. Not fun to do alone. No. That happened twice, actually. Just go to this spot and then fight hordes. And then the last one, the one I actually accomplished, I did it. There's 3 orbs. You have to go and bring these 3 orbs back to the ship. The orbs are called architects. I'm not sure that matters. They run away from you, and so you have to shoot these orbs to make them stop, and then you can pick them up, and you move really slow. And so what you have to do is actually tell your drones, your 3 drones that are basically multiplayer stand-ins, they'll pick up the orb for you. But then an infinite supply of invisible enemies will attack those orbs as they're trying to take them back to your dropship. And so these guys never stop spawning the invisible guys. And I truly believe it's just the design comes from let's make this annoying. Let's make this as challenging as possible out of annoying the player. And it doesn't work if you're playing alone. I could see it working if you're playing with buddies.
Did you group up with anyone? Did you say, you know what, I'm going to beat this level I'm going to ally up?
I did not.
There's 0% chance, Kyle.
No.
Ally up.
I am a solo space marine. And I mean, context-wise, that kind of stinks. Basically, each mission is you're going off of a lead from Samus.
Oh my
We got some information from Samus. She knows of an outpost. Go take care of that outpost. So in the context of this world, Samus is hopping around the 3 planets that these things take place in, and she's finding information and then giving it to these space marines, the Federation
And then
force.
just leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you run into her or anything in the game?
Not yet. I assume it's got to happen at some point, but she's very consistently an element of the story. It's so weird. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about Metroid Prime 3 on my drive, and how Samus is a bounty hunter. She's Boba Fett. She should be as cool as Boba Fett. Instead, she's like kind of very heavily involved with Federation Force. She's just like a straight up good guy.
Getting paid. Well, like the bounty hunters worked with the Empire in Star Wars.
Yeah.
She goes where the cash goes.
I think the character on Super Nintendo is cooler than the character by the end of Metroid Prime 3.
Because she doesn't even talk.
Yeah.
That's what makes her great, too.
Well,
they tried it once.
Boba Fett barely talks.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
Yeah. She could be Boba Fett.
Yeah. Don't talk a lot, Samus.
Yeah.
When I think about the great Metroid games, like, there are few video game protagonists out there that have the focus of Samus. Like, Samus knows exactly what she's doing, and she does it, and then the game ends. You know, it's not like a lot of deliberation of like, okay, well, what do you think we should do, or like conflict with it. Like, Samus just fucking goes to a planet and kills some aliens, and then escapes from something
Usually
exploding.
it blows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kyle, I want you to explain something to me. This game obviously encourages you to play with other people, but playing multiplayer with other people on a handheld just never feels right. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm not saying it can't be fun, but like finding other people to play a Zelda game on a handheld, like a handheld, I think is just an innately very personal experience.
Yes.
Sure.
And even in something like Monster Hunter, which really requires other people, and I played on stream and had a bunch of fun with, I felt like I had to jump through more hoops just because it was on a handheld.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I hear you there. I mean, what are games I enjoyed playing multiplayer? I think Mario Kart Online worked on DS. That was cool. Tetris DS worked online. That was all right.
But I think a big part of it is when I was playing like a Triforce Heroes or something like that, or Four Swords Adventures, I felt bad when I was playing alone. The two games that you referenced, Mario Kart and Tetris, I can play those alone and have a good time.
Sure, absolutely.
And
I
so
absolutely did.
When I like can conveniently play with other people, it's just fun. But anytime I'm playing alone, I'm still having a good time. Like you don't feel bad for playing alone. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, and so I mean, it's the type of game it is. Metroid Prime Federation Force. It is a multiplayer game. It should be looked at as such. They tried to do everything they could to make it a game that I could play alone, but I get to that point where it's like, oh, this is definitely meant to be played with other people.
I think a big brutal question with Federation Force is, why does this exist? Do you think it makes a case for itself in the game?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it does. It exists to be a multiplayer game that you play with buddies.
Okay.
And I think there was an appeal for that. I don't know what happened. I think there was a point where that seemed like a viable thing.
They were probably in a meeting.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's make a multiplayer spin-off for our franchises. Triforce Heroes, Metroid, and who else, whatever else they probably had cooking up.
The stupid Animal Crossing game, maybe?
Maybe
Maybe that happened. The thing, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is so good. This is the same team.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
And so there is still some of that,
Single player game, though.
Yeah, and that game, single player. Absolutely. Imagine multiple Luigi's wandering. I think there is multiplayer in that game, actually.
But it's like
a mode.
Yeah, it's a mode, though.
Yep. Yeah.
Everyone just going, Mario.
It's like a big time
people.
It's like a big time movie director. It's like, yo, do our studio movie, and then you can do your awesome, like whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like that.
It's Nolan. He's got it. Yeah. All right. I'll do another Batman. Fine. Yeah. I mean, those are my thoughts on the game. I'll probably still try to do some more missions, but those that I just failed at, it's so overwhelming where it's like, I don't know. Maybe I got to invite some buddies in, but I don't know if I will.
That doesn't
Do it.
sound fun.
Take the game down, Carl.
Take the game down.
Yeah, you gotta be pretty deep now. You're probably pretty deep in it, right?
Yeah, who knows? I assume there's probably a lot more. I have no idea, actually.
Do you think at any point before you put the game down permanently, you will play with other people?
No. 70% chance no, 30% chance yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, after this, I assume there's gonna be a lot of tweets and things like, "Hey, bud, I'll play with you."
Yeah.
I assume that'll come. I don't know. Honestly, I really like to play Metroid games alone.
One of my fondest memories of all time,
What's that?
playing Call of Duty Black Ops 3 campaign with Kyle.
Yeah.
Co-op campaign. Like, you could have gone through that solo. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, probably just shook your arm really, really hard and said, Kyle, we're playing. We're playing, buddy.
I think because Metroid's like much more personal to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those games have always been about solitary, isolated games or whatever.
Exploration.
Yeah.
I mean, just in
environments.
general, though,
Yeah.
you're not really into, like...
He's treating Call of Duty though like a summer blockbuster. Then you're just going guns blazing, having some fun.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's actually a point I want to bring up. A change that has happened with me when I was younger in college or in high school. When I would play shooters, I made no attempt to understand the story. I would just play to shoot things and have fun. And so I had a blast going co-op with friends. Now, for whatever reason, even if it's awful, even if it's like the most poorly presented thing ever, I want to pay attention to the story. And when I play co-op, I just can't.
Really
I try, but your buddies are talking to you, which you want them to talk to you.
Yeah.
You want it to be a social experience, but when they're talking and then an NPC is talking, I cannot process it.
It's just and Black Ops 3 in particular is trying to do so much like meta just the sub of you're not actually looking at what you're looking at.
There's so many twists and turns.
There were things that there's no way
confusing.
Huber and I would have picked up on them until we go back later and watch the YouTube videos.
Okay.
that reminds me of when we played Halo 4 together.
Halo 5.
Oh, 5, sorry,
yeah.
yeah. And I don't know anything
I
that
couldn't
happened in
give
that
you...
game.
Yeah, we
now.
got to chapter 11, and I couldn't tell you one...
They're chasing Cortana or Chief
thing
is, and
that
one team's
happens.
following them, and
That you're doing all right.
Oh,
You're doing
okay.
all right. You're doing
All right.
okay.
Okay.
But the reason I brought that up is I feel like now I have to make a choice where I'll start a game single player and then somebody would be like, "Hey, do you want to play this?" And I have that moment of crisis where I'm like, "All right, do I want fun with friends or story here?" Even in WoW, I
both
get
with
that
me,
sometimes.
baby.
Yeah. I hear you.
Serious business.
I do probably get it with you.
No talking during cutscenes.
Yeah, but you have been known to cut off fingers if someone eats during a movie, so
Exactly.
like it's a very different thing.
Turn the lights on, chop your fingernail off.
Gouge out your eyes.
Final note on Metroid Prime Federation Force: good secrets.
Nice.
cool,
Yeah.
awesome.
Though not necessarily rewarding, you just get little chips.
But it's just cool.
Oh my god.
Okay, here
if
we
you
go.
die, you have to start the whole mission over.
There's no checkpoint.
And they
no.
destroy some of your chips.
Destroy them.
Yeah. So basically you have a loadout and some of the chips are destructible, like the good ones.
Yeah.
So let's say you take this loadout that gives you like 20% boost against space pirates. Sometimes you'll die and that chip will break and then you have to start the mission over again.
Is it just random? Which ones break?
No, it's
Or is
basically
this
their
one
class.
like this one is like if you
it's
die,
like a
it'll break?
purple or a green or a...
Oh, okay.
If you had to guess, how long on average does it take to complete a mission?
The times they expect you to are like 10 minutes. They're like your goal, and then
Expected, yeah.
usually for me it's like a half hour. I spent a half hour
my
on
Because you
that
gotta go
God.
solo and
with the three
really
orbs.
careful, yeah.
I had to spend a half hour.
I
on
bet
that.
if you had two other friends, Kyle,
Yeah.
you'd be done with the game by now.
Yeah.
Finished.
But
Just
also, like,
steamroll it.
I don't like to be timed in a Metroid game. I want to be exploring.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be finding those great secrets.
Can we still call this a Metroid game, though?
It's a Metroid game.
It's Metroid.
Okay.
If it has
It's a
Metroid on the
spin-off.
box, like I think that's out of our control.
It's a
at that point,
spin-off.
Yeah.
I did not shoot at one Metroid though yet in
Yeah.
the game. There got to be
Final
coming, right?
act.
Yeah.
Oh, big Metroid's gonna come like.
Bradley Ellis, before the show, you with me and you said you had one game to talk about. I'm curious. The people are curious. What is that one game?
Little game called Aragami.
Oh.
So, if you guys saw, we played on stream. It's heavily inspired Tenchu stealth action game. I played a lot yesterday. It was one of those games I haven't done in a long time where I was playing it. I was like, oh, it's 2 a.m. now. I gotta stop now.
I recently had that happen as well.
Which is great. I have some gripes with it, but I think it's a really solid game. Like, for instance, when I'm thinking of a ninja game, when you're in a huge open environment, like I want to be able to go on like every structure, like get vantage points. There's only like specific things you can go on. Like, for example, there was like a house, like a roof. I was like, oh, dude, I just want to blink up there because you can kind of blink like Dishonored. can't do it for some reason. They take away the freedom, but I think the movement's really good. Like one of the game's mechanics, like the key to that game is going through shadows. Like when you guys are all playing, you teleport through shadows, but there comes a point in that game where it becomes second nature, and that's when the game really, I think, starts to shine, is when you're really familiar with all the powers and everything like that. The story is light, but I think it's enough to keep me going. Like there's more clues and hidden. Like I don't really want to totally, like, pretty much you got summoned to help this girl and rescue her.
Okay.
And as you're going along, you're finding out more about her past and more about you, I suppose, like that. Just enough to keep you going, but not like... I'm really glad that's not over, like, pretentious or anything like that. That would be, like, hard checkout for me.
Sure.
There's also co-op campaign, which I have not done yet, though. I'm super curious to try that.
Yeah, I can see that being a little messy because, I mean, this is a game where if you get seen, that's it. Which I think... I coming out with that sort of game now, you just don't see it very often. I do have a certain amount of respect for this. It's not a stealth game where when you get seen, you got to scramble and you have a bunch of options. It is a stealth game where the whole point is not being seen. I do respect that for sure.
I'm at a point now though where I'm like super overpowered, I feel like.
Oh wow.
And
okay,
I'm
so
like,
what is it, just the teleportation that's making you overpowered?
So like as you go throughout the game, you collect these scrolls, which are fun to find, like like find
good secrets.
Yeah,
nice.
But I got this item or like this skill I got where it tells me where everything is. So I just pick them all off the map, and now I have like crazy abilities. Like I have for instance, you get like abilities, and you usually have 2 charges with the ability, but there's like little points throughout the level that you could refill it with, like 1 or 2. So I have these like throwing kunais that kill guys instantly, don't make any sound. But I also have this move now where if I hold the attack button, like some crazy shadow demon comes out from the ground and like the Mortal Kombat dragon comes out of the ground, bites a dude's face and drags them like into the underworld. And it refills like one of my special abilities.
So you can keep doing that?
So yeah, I can do as much as I want. So I can throw kunai at a guy super far away, like an archer that usually is like a little risky,
and devour
but now
someone.
I can just I just keep doing it over and over now, so I feel like I ain't afraid of nothing now in that game, which kind of sucks.
Definitely.
But it does, there's also ways to, like, there's obviously like I'm playing the route where I'm just killing everyone right now because I'm trying out that, but I want to try the ghost route where you don't kill anybody or never get seen. And I was looking at some of the powers, like you can go invincible or like make cool like clones, or you can put like a mine on a character, like an enemy, and he could like walk into a group of enemies. He could detonate and just blow up like the whole group.
Sure.
Just like a different way to play, but I haven't actually gotten to play it yet.
It's something.
So go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, so many games always give you a move and then you become super powerful.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake to put that in.
And it just made me, like, right now think of like Bayonetta or like Devil May Cry or something where like you're getting really powerful, but then the enemies can like counter those moves too. They're getting more powerful. Like I think that's such an underrated thing in games, is like getting that right.
I think I'm halfway through the game and I haven't run into anyone like that yet though. But I just got to a new location that's very different from what I've seen the rest of the game, so I'm hoping there'll be some new enemy.
Can I tell you my least favorite version of that though, Huber? I think it's an Uncharted 2 situation where suddenly there's just guys who have bulletproof armor.
Oh, these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It's like, no, I have a shield. Sorry, none of your other stuff will work on me. And so I hate it when it's just like that. Uncharted 4 didn't have that. I was expecting it to come. Maybe on harder difficulties there's guys with invincible armor, but no, I didn't.
Isn't there like body armor guys in that game?
Shoot him in the head.
I mean, yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Because then you knock their helmet off, and then just one...
But I remember, I guess it's the end of Uncharted 3. It's all these guys are like, nope, headshots won't work on me. It's like, why though? Why? It's that thing. We're trying to make the game harder.
Yeah.
That's so cheap.
So cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap, I like it.
And so you're right. It's a tough balance of making it harder, but making it fair to the player.
Bayonetta.
Yeah, the thing about Bayonetta is you get a whole bunch of new weapons and things, but what I like is it's not this idea of linear progression where it's like, okay, I got a new weapon, therefore I will disregard my old weapon. Like, all of the different things you have just fill different niches. They're like, you can just play through with like the entire game with just your basic stuff. It just changes how you approach it. And the same is true of Devil May Cry. Like, I don't know.
Oh, and Bayonetta 2 has the combos though, so you can pull in your old weapon and then slap your new weapon on your hands.
Yes.
The foot blades. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I need to play this right now.
One thing that DMC did a lot, the new one that I liked a lot, was being able to switch between weapons like really quick in combat.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like,
The,
could you do that? You could do that Bayonetta you just said, right? Like during mid-com you could switch weapons. I can't remember.
You can so in Bayonetta 2 you can have two weapons equipped and switch between them.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
DMC did that so well.
But it's like every weapon is in that. Yeah.
Oh my god. You like knock someone with the sword, like pull them up with the scythe, throw the axe.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But yeah, there are so many games I can think of where once you get X ability, you use it in every single situation.
Yeah.
Because it is so powerful.
Yeah, I'm hoping the difficulty ramps up a little.
Yeah, and I think something that I want to say is a comment that always really frustrates me is, well, you could just not use it.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That's true.
no.
One of my biggest
I'm not
pet
going to
peeves.
put like barriers around
right,
the game design.
because I think
If it's in the game,
right.
that's it.
Well, and I think it has a psychological effect, right? When you know that you have this really powerful thing that's super effective, and you just choose not to use it, it actually saps the thrill from fights. It's like I know that I am just artificially making this harder, and so it doesn't feel like an authentic challenge.
Exactly.
It feels like a challenge that I had to force, and so then it's not fun for a totally different reason.
Totally.
Yeah. Cool. Aragami.
solid game.
It sounds like a game that maybe if there was an Aragami 2 and they could improve
I
on
was
it.
thinking that when I was playing it. I was like, this is a really good first step if they make another one.
Cool.
So I'm hoping.
Give Brad his freedom.
Give me my freedom.
You're totally right though. Like when you play as a game as a ninja, you just instinctively want to just run and jump on
And you
things.
can't jump. Like you can't just jump, which is weird, but I get it what they're going for.
Sure. The only Michael Huber. You said you had one thing to talk about, not a game.
I'm like under embargo right now. I've been just doing other stuff.
Whoa.
Haven't really gamed that much. The
You've
games
been
I've
doing.
been.
I just want to say you've been really busy with these yells. You've been doing so much stuff. So props to you, man.
I guess I could talk about one thing. It's not under embargo. I could talk about Dishonored 2.
I'm
doing a
Talk to me.
because I'm doing a preview.
Tell them
Should
what
I
you
talk
told
about
me.
it?
If
I'm doing a preview.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, obviously.
I mean, if you're doing the preview, maybe talk about something that you're not going to input or have a different spin on it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a thought. That's hard to do on the spot.
Give
I'm
him a
aware.
tease, Huber.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous about Dishonored 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the tease we wanted.
Yeah. Well, previews are positive, so here I'll be a little more negative.
Sure.
Because the game's not out yet. The biggest thing for me is that playing through the same segment as different characters is the same story. So we did the Clockwork Mansion, which is like this mansion, and you're like move levers, and the whole level is like shifting and transforming.
From the intro, the CG intro trailer.
Which is super cool at first. So I played as Emily, and it was cool because I was like trying to figure out the mansion and trying to I felt like I was in this place and the place itself was against me. You know what I mean?
So this is a puzzle game.
Kind of. Like, it's hard because there's waypoints. There was a moment when it's like, okay, go there, but I had to figure out kind of how to get there. But the biggest thing is that when I got to play the same thing as Corvo, I beat it in like 6 minutes because it's the exact same thing, the exact same dialogue from characters, except like one different line.
Mm-hmm.
Like, legit, you have a conversation with the guys, Emily, and then I did the same thing as Corvo, and it's like the same animation, guy walks up, says the same stuff with like one, good to see you, Corvo. Like, come on. And like, they kept just stressing that playing as two different characters, they both have such different powers and abilities.
Yeah.
And to be fair, for the purpose of the demo, we only had 3 abilities per character, and there was some minor overlap with, like, Corvo had Blink and she had Shadow Walk, which are kind of similar. But yeah, that concerns me because like Resident Evil 2, I kept thinking of
Sure.
scenario A, scenario B. You go in different environments and like you have to play it all to kind of complete the puzzle. So I just did not appreciate that.
Sure. But playing devil's advocate, I think Resident Evil 2 can be a little bit more intricate with its structure because you as a player don't have as much freedom, right? Like
Totally.
you are locked into these rooms in a certain way and can only interact with things in a certain way. Whereas in Dishonored, depending on your abilities, how you interact with the environment and where you can go, theoretically dramatically changes. But it's frustrating, I think, especially for this preview and especially for you being able to report on it, is if that's like the thing, if that's what makes it feel different is the abilities, and you weren't able to get that sense, I would walk away frustrated too.
Totally. And the combat was not a strength of Dishonored 1. Stealth, I feel like, is way more of its strength. The combat still didn't feel that great when you get an open combat, like sword. You kind of just mash it out.
Well, the strength I felt in Dishonored with the chaotic route was the powers that came with it.
Of course.
Necessarily not like the sword fighting. Like sword fighting sucks.
Sword fighting still
But like
sucks.
putting rats on dude, that's pretty sweet.
And like and the force push and the guys go flying off, like that's cool.
And something that I think Dishonored 1 did do a pretty good job of is how you could combine things. The way that those powers played into each other. Like, it was one of those things where you could assess the situation and like, I wonder if I could do that, and then you could go and try it, and it would have pretty hilarious or super effective results. So, do you feel like that's true in Dishonored 2? Do you feel like there are new combinations for you to play with, or did that not really come across?
It didn't come across yet. They've showed it before. Emily has Domino, which is like you link up enemies, and what happens to one happens to them all. So that has potential.
That one to me is completely uncreative.
Domino?
Yeah, it's just what you just said. What happens to this one happens to these other ones. That to me is not escalating anything. It's just like, it's a flat line. It's just like, oh, I can clear out this room by doing one thing to one guy, and then the rest of them have that same thing.
Yeah, chains to all those.
Yeah.
It's like a chain thing, yeah.
So if one guy passes out, the other three pass out, I think is how it works.
Is it like
technically,
immediate, or does it take a minute?
Like 1, 2, 3.
Oh my.
So to me, that one's like a lazy power. It's like not a cool, fun, like, oh, we could really do a lot with this one. It's like, oh, okay, I took that guy out for no reason other than he was connected with my domino powers.
Right now. If you could
that's kind of Dishonored, though. Corvo is overpowered. He's taking on, like, a huge fortress.
But, like, if you get in, like, especially, like, mid or early on in Dishonored, when you're in a fight, if you get seen and there's, like, 2 or 3 guys, it could be kind of hectic.
Yeah.
Especially, but if it sounds like you can just do one thing and it links to all of them, like, pretty quickly, it seems kind of like, that's, like, taking out a room real easily.
Yeah.
Like,
even
Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Is it like that? That more recent one where you just line up the headshots ahead of time, then you pop up and take them off?
Oh my god.
Does it work like that?
No,
the domino?
like you have to like have line of sight on them and stuff.
Okay.
So I do want to praise one thing, and that's the stealth.
Oh, good.
One of my most hated things in stealth games is kneeling right next to someone and they don't see you.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be a new standard for AI versus the player in stealth, straight up.
A new standard for AI is the quote that
The new standard for stealth AI.
Sure.
Seriously.
Whoa, why?
Like, just being so used to like ducking behind something and like seeing someone in games, like you can manipulate stealth games so easily by like ducking behind a little thing, going in like a weird little corner, and like being out of sight, right?
Because it's like they're on a path. As long as I'm not in that path, I don't get seen, kind of a thing. Yeah.
This was really good. Enemies were kind of like walking around unpredictably.
Okay.
If they like, it makes sense. So many games you're like on a hallway, but their vision cone, even if they're dead in front of you, their vision cone doesn't reach, so you could be like staring at someone and they wouldn't see you. Now it's like they have such far vision, like if they even see movement, their like meter starts to rise, and it goes up pretty quickly until they're like alerted. So it seems like the stealth is aware.
But it's not like Crisis where they see you halfway across the island.
It's not like Crisis where they're sniping you across.
I think meters are a good compromise. It's not I see you, I don't see you. It's kind of realistic to
And,
like being suspicious.
and Dishonored has those meters.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
I actually think that's a huge deal.
Me too.
And it's going to change.
Me too.
Yeah,
I was
think that's
very
a
excited about it because I was like, whoa! Like there was a part when I would like do my thing and like try to like get across to a place behind a bookshelf, and it was like she was like down the hallway and she saw me and I was like, whoa, dude, okay, pretty alert enemy there. So
I have a question about Dishonored. So the first game had like that hub, I guess you could call it, like the pub you went to.
yeah.
Does Dishonored 2 have something like this?
It's gonna have sections called neutral zones. I asked about this. What's cool is there's context, because I brought up like too many items to pick up in video games, right?
I agree with you there.
I was like, there's way too much. I'm like picking up coins. Like, what's that about? Lead director Harvey Smith says, when that's in video games, there needs to be context. And there is. Emily...
I love how context has become this like,
Calabasas,
sensual
right?
word for
I love
lazy
it.
allies.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you ruined me.
It's a plate of cookies.
Emily is... It used to be like the princess or whatever. It's not spoilers. It's like the first 5 minutes of the game. She like loses her cash. So throughout the game, periodically, she'll have lines of like, I can't afford this, I'm broke, blah, blah, blah. So her picking up money is like for the cause. Like just little touches like that are really cool. And I guess there's like secret black market missions in the neutral zones that you can kind of discover.
So are these like really big now or like a lot bigger?
They're supposed to be. I didn't get to play that part. I just played the mansion.
So here's what I'm hoping. Since the missions aren't really different, I'm hoping there's different events if you're either Corvo or Emily.
Yeah,
It's confirmed? Like,
yeah.
what a missed opportunity.
It's like the same. There's like different. They're both of their views on the world are different, obviously, because they are different characters commenting on what they see. So those outlooks on the world of Dishonored 2 will be different, but the story and everything that happens in between is all the same.
So, outside of those different perspectives, when I played through Dishonored 1, I remember really liking the world and liking the style of it, but I can't, having played through that entire game, I can't for the life of me, like, give you a good synopsis of what it was about. Like, it's just gone. Dunwall. Yeah,
the queen got overthrown. You were framed for the murder.
Okay.
Yep.
So your whole mission is to kill that guy.
Clear your name.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of like that guy, or it's just
but
a
then
lot
there's
of
the whole thing with
vague
the outsider and like the powers and everything like that.
Yeah,
I'm figuring about that, and there's Dodd and everything.
I'm just saying, I don't think it really resonated with me in a way that like I don't remember a lot of the details, and I'm not like, oh man, I wish I did.
Yeah.
So.
I'm the kind of opposite. Like, I'm stoked to find out more about that universe.
No, I'm stoked to find out more about that universe too. I'm just saying I don't think Dishonored 1, like the story itself, like blew me away.
Oh, sure. Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Do you feel like what they're saying here, the story outside of the two characters thing, is stronger, or at least interested you, or didn't interest you? Like, how did it play out?
I didn't play enough to fairly answer.
That means the answer is no.
Yeah, I think the fact that both characters have the same thing is a mark against it for me in terms of caring about the narrative. If it was like, yo, play her story, play his, see how they intersect, get one huge picture, one huge story, then I'm like, oh, yes, cannot wait to beat the game like twice essentially. But it might be hard for me to go back and play the exact same game a second time.
Don't do it.
With a different character. But like, granted, you know, even in the demo, it's like, okay, Emily, I'm going to stealth this. Now I'm Corvo. I'm going to go guns blazing, high chaos.
Yeah, they want to give you
There's
a taste
always
of
that.
both, yeah.
But, yeah, it'll depend on how good the first playthrough is, I guess.
Moving on from Dishonored 2.
Yeah, lastly.
I know you got another point?
Just really... No,
Go
not
ahead.
Dishonored, not Dishonored.
Oh, go ahead.
Something else I wanted to bring up.
Okay, me too. I got 1 and 2.
All right.
I just want to bring this up
boom.
for...
You don't have to rush. I just...
Oh, no, done with Dishonored.
Okay.
Oh.
I just really want Kyle Bossman to finish
Oh, boy.
Naruto. Kyle,
I got you.
it's all I want.
I'm actually not too busy this weekend.
all I want
I
in
think
life.
tonight I'll be able to watch
Tonight.
Naruto. Yeah,
Tonight.
I'll be able to watch them. We got 2 more episodes left, right? Or is it 1 at this point?
At this point, there is... I looked on the filler list. There's 1 more, and then it goes into, like, filler. I think the next episode is it.
We gotta watch together on a couch. hugging
Dude,
each
we
other.
should. I'm down. I'm so down.
I'll try to catch up.
I'm
viewer.
so
I'll try
down
to catch
for
up.
that. Okay.
Maybe tomorrow night too. I'll be able to
Yeah,
watch
put
them.
Federation Force down.
Yeah. Yeah, because
These last couple
you gotta read
weeks-
those subtitles. It's tough. You can't. You gotta.
Yeah.
It takes all your
I
focus.
just
These
want all the fan art of you guys on the couch hugging each other. I just do. I just want it.
These last couple weeks, like, openly weeping
Yeah.
at Naruto. Like, the show is, like, especially Shippuden. Like, I don't want to get into, like, anime debates here or, like, quality discussions, but, like, ups and downs of Shippuden, especially because of the amount of filler. It's, like, ridiculous how many
I
and
would
where
say
they,
offensive.
It is offensive, and they've ruined the show because of it.
I stopped watching because of that.
At a point where there was over a year of filler.
Yeah.
you
Last
know?
year. Yeah.
And like having 3 episodes of canon, 5 filler, 2 canon, 7 filler, like
It ain't right.
Like regular Naruto is like the whole show, and then it's like, okay, show's over. Now we can just keep it going with filler after. That's what they should have done. But these last like 5 or 6 episodes have been on such another level that I've like forgiven.
The bitterness is melted away.
The bitterness is melting away because like
Payoff.
because it's the culmination, and because of I've been watching the show for like a decade, and it's just like it's perfection. It is perfection.
I think it is truly astounding if you've been watching this show for more than a decade, your expectations for what the payoff should be, and somebody like you who values
Payoff's the most important thing.
top of the list,
Yeah.
and has been, for lack of a better phrase, I guess, dicked around for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, it's awesome.
It's
like the
so
fact that you
good.
can come out on the other side and say that, I think is really amazing.
Naruto has one musical theme that makes me cry every time.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they save it. They save it for that moment, and then they just
Yeah.
pull up that music,
They
and I'm
do.
like, bah!
They really do.
They acknowledged him. Bah!
I really like that first Naruto intro song. I wanna rock.
Yes.
It is such a
Ben-
funny, good everything about it.
It actually never gets better than that. That's the
Really?
best one.
Oh!
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is the best intro
Yeah.
theme.
Rocking my heart. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
And it's so Naruto. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. It's
Yeah.
perfect.
You know
I
what
just
show has
walk-
good intros? Is One Piece.
Yeah.
Dude,
One Piece got
top tier
intros, huh?
intros, man. If you guys ever start that journey, man, I would be so pumped.
We
many.
are
That's legit 10-year journey.
That's
I'm not
a
even
10-year
kidding.
we're falling into an anime black
Yeah.
hole.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to do,
Yes,
Ben,
yes,
was
yes.
a highlight of context. You made me think of it. Because I've still been chipping away to I'm Setsuna. It's not interesting to talk
Ooh.
about, you know, because I already, even on the show, already talked about it.
That's interesting to me.
You know, in games, when an NPC shows up deep in a dungeon and you're like, how did you get here?
Yeah.
I hate
yes.
it. Hate it so much. You worked so hard to get here. How'd that NPC get there? There's a moment in I'm Setsuna where this guy shows up and they ask him, how did you get here? And he says, I covered myself in the dung of the monsters.
Sick.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I love
So
that.
cool. Little lines like that.
I love that.
I wish that character did the gesture that you
He
just
does,
did.
yeah.
Oh, it,
Yeah, he
it
does,
does.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay. All right.
And
I'm
he's-
Setsuna okay.
And they're like, oh. And so it makes sense why other people wouldn't do it because it's super gross, but it makes sense of how he got to
Yeah.
that TP it did.
That's
I
cool.
love that.
Not to drag this out, but I want to throw one thing at you.
Yeah.
So in Bravely Default, there's a guy you always meet in the dungeon. He's got the same coat on, same hat. He's a very mysterious fellow, and the game presents him in a very mysterious way, to where I could kind of extrapolate it and be like, maybe this guy has some mysterious ways of just getting around, kind of that figure, that unknown.
Yeah, it's
Does
magic.
that work for you? Or do you
Oh,
think...
sure.
Okay.
Like the guy in Resident Evil 4. You don't
Yeah,
question it.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It's fine.
This guy's
Okay.
face covered. He's
Yeah,
magic.
yeah. He's fine.
Merchant.
Yeah.
Comes back to life.
I love wild internet theories on like who the merchant is.
Don't bother. No, no, no.
It's so good. I
He's
love
exactly who he is. You know, there's nothing more than what's on the
It's
surface.
forced. He came back.
Dude, you want some good internet theories, just Google Snoke. Like,
I watched a half-hour video about how it's Mace Windu. That was so dumb. A half hour about this is definitely Mace Windu. It's not.
You watched the
Clearly
whole
it's not.
thing?
Yes.
Okay.
The best was the Jar Jar Binks theories.
It's Jar Jar, yeah.
How could you even think that? Good God. Have you guys seen the ring theory on Star Wars?
The ring.
The ring theory.
No.
I'm not gonna. It's like a whole
I'll look
thing.
it up. I'll look it up.
It's
The ring theory.
It's some whole thing about how George Lucas is a poetic genius with all the movies.
Oh, okay. I'm not willing to hop into
Dude,
that.
it's so stupid.
There's in the Red Letter Media review of the movies, they keep cutting back to George Lucas saying this ridiculous. He's like, it's like a poem, and it's.
Have you
it's
seen
so
the new one?
funny.
Have you seen the new
The
one?
Force Awakens review?
Yes.
No, I haven't seen it yet.
They talk about the ring theory, and it's
Okay.
insanely hilarious. You
Oh,
gotta
God.
watch that.
Oh.
2 hours, settle in.
As I said at the top of the show, I've been playing a lot of stuff. I got 5 games here.
Holy
Ooh, baby.
crap!
We don't have time to talk about all 5, so I'm gonna try to pick 3.
Is Yakuza on the list?
It's not, and I have so much to say about
Damn
it.
it.
Oh,
But you're the Dragon of Iowa, though.
yeah. I feel like
Trying to get that tattoo removed.
if you want, a lot of my streams are garbage, but the last Yakuza stream was pretty good. If you wanna see the joy that I experienced with that game, go check that out. The archive stuff on YouTube and on Twitch. A game I really want to talk about, and I think people are gonna be surprised that I'm so in love with it, is Forza Horizon 3.
Sick.
Wow.
Like,
I'm not
Let's do it.
surprised.
I love it. It was a couple nights ago I played it, and I was like, I'm gonna check this out for an hour. I don't have a lot of time. 3 a.m.
Dang.
And first of all, just on a basic level, that game looks incredible. It looks so good. And what I love is they do an amazing job of just feeding you from one thing to the next in a good way, where like everything I was doing, I was having a blast with. So you start and you're racing this helicopter that has a Jeep hanging off of it, and you're like crashing through trees, and you're like doing bounces on these hills, and then like the next thing you do is you're racing along this beach, and you're going in the water, and that affects your handling, and there are these huge like rock formations that you have to zigzag in between, and then after that you're going through like this neighborhood, and you're crashing through fences, and it has that amazing like feel to it that the Forza games have, that authentic feel. But it's like, all right, we're not just gonna be on racetracks, we're not gonna be sterile, we're gonna have a blast. And I know nothing about cars. Zero. I know offensively little about racing or cars. I just think from a video game perspective, this is a blast. Like,
2 questions.
yeah.
Are you playing this on Xbox or PC?
So, I was going to play on PC.
Uh-huh.
Then I heard about all of the problems the PC version is having, so I'm
Ooh.
like, I'm just gonna wait,
Ouch.
and I'm playing on Xbox right now. And it's been running and looking
Nice.
fantastically
Good.
on Xbox. It's to the point where I don't feel all that compromised. I'm sure if the PC version gets totally ironed out and I can play it at 60 frames, I'll be like, wow, this is a huge upgrade. But not having that, I'm not playing Forza Horizon 3 on Xbox and being like, I don't constantly feel like I'm missing out or anything.
Yeah. This is a weird question.
Yeah.
So, I don't really like racing games that much.
Sure.
But for some reason, I really loved their first Midnight Club on PS2.
Yes. What
Does this-
what did you love about Midnight?
I guess, well, it was the PS2 era, I guess. Like, the sense of exploration, I guess, I had in that game.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm getting like a kind of, like, I haven't played any of the Horizon games, period. So I'm getting a kind of vibe like that, like
Right.
a lot of exploration. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes. So here's a point I want to drive home. I feel like with a lot
Drive
of
home.
Damn it.
I feel like with a
hero.
lot of games like this where they do have an open world where you can drive anywhere, you get one of two things. Either like the world is really boring, but you have fun racing and doing the events, or the world is really interesting, you have fun just driving around, but the events themselves are very repetitive or super simple.
Yeah, yeah.
I honestly feel like Forza Horizon 3 does an excellent job of doing both. The times where I like just went off and drove, it's like, oh, here's a crazy jump I can do. Here are all these like boards I can smash through and I can get a boost, or here's a barn I can find that might have a super rare car in it. Like, I had fun just doing nothing, but every single event, like, I haven't played for 10 hours or 20 hours or anything, so maybe this changes over time, but right now where I'm at, everything I'm doing feels different and exciting and like pretty cool.
Well, it's because of like the environmental variety, you know? Like,
Yeah.
there's so many different locations within the game, and
Right.
like a Burnout Paradise, it is like it could be my favorite racing game of all time.
Burnout Paradise is almost perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the races themselves are so similar because it's in Paradise City, and Paradise
Right.
City does not have much diversity.
Yeah.
Yeah, Forza Horizon, like when Blood was showing us like the race strip out there, and like the the water like salt mine place.
Yeah.
There's just like so many different areas. Like, oh my god.
Australia.
I think
Australia.
what accentuates that even more is you're trying to make like the Horizon Festival the biggest festival there is, and as you get more fans, your festival expands. You can pick different locations where you want to expand.
Context.
And so you get to make this choice where it's like the next area that I like unlock events for. Do I want it to be this city? Do I want it to be this red desert? So not only do you get a lot of variety, you kind of you feel like, oh man, this place is really awesome, and this is the one I chose. Therefore, I feel super good about it. And yeah.
Wait, question. So you're driving around Australia unlocking like areas on the map?
You're bringing people to the festival in that area.
My understanding is that you can go to these areas regardless, but like I get to choose where I unlock the next set of events for. Like you don't start Forza Horizon 3 and it's like, okay, there's things you can do on every single part of this, like structured events. You choose where you unlock the next batch.
Okay, yeah, I was afraid it was gonna be
Not
like
themselves.
unlocking radio towers kind of thing. Driving here, and then you see the map, and you see stuff on the map.
So it doesn't-
A lot of stuff on that map.
There is a lot of stuff on that map, but I'm actually going to fight against that because I feel like in radio tower games, it's like, okay, I'm out of stuff to do. To unlock the next set of things, I have to go do this
the
task that
radio
I've
tower.
already done. Like, this just happens. Like, you just get fans and experience as you're doing things anyway. You don't have to stop and then go do this separate thing.
Cool.
It just doesn't feel
Seems more
quite as
seamless
still
then.
And did you say I can drive to a location and unlock a secret car just from finding it?
Barnes.
Yeah, I love that kind of thing. I think I watched Bloodworth do that.
Yes.
That kind of thing I love. Good secrets.
Yes.
To just like emphasize your point too about Horizon being tailored to both markets of like, yo, I'm not super into cars. I just want to like drive around and have fun.
Me.
Right.
But at the same time,
You can just listen to DMX.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's like, yo, Forza Horizon takes their cars seriously. So it's
Right.
like this perfect balance of like, we're not taking ourselves too seriously. We can kind of just hang out and drive and race around and have fun. But if you want to dig deep into each of the cars, that is there. Versus like other racing games that take themselves so seriously, like Need for Speed or, you know, Gran Turismo is like a simulation. So it's super alienating to anyone who's not intensely into cars.
You feel bad for not knowing.
Yeah.
Whereas I had the exact opposite effect in Forza Horizon 3 where I was having so much fun doing all these crazy things. And then I unlocked... Oh, the rate at which you unlock cars is really good too. I unlocked a new car and you can do this thing where you like explode the car and like the hood opens up and all the doors open up. And I don't know what any of this stuff is, but I was looking at it and I was like slowly panning around like, this is awesome. I don't know what I think is awesome, but it was cool. I do want to say one negative thing about Forza Horizon 3 that has been sticking with me. Forza Horizon 3, I do think is a game that tries too hard to be cool. Like, it's DJs and the people that are talking to you on the radio, like, the jokes they make and the style they have, it feels so forced. Like, they don't
You don't
feel
need it.
like
You don't need it.
Yeah. The world and everything you're doing is amazing, but the voices that occasionally chit-chat with you are kind of lame. Yeah. Not a huge turnoff, but
I went through
persistent.
that new Need for Speed story. It was hilarious.
Like
Like
was it
the
the run?
first person.
Was that what it was?
Oh, yeah.
The first person live action cutscenes.
We're trying to achieve some authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that goes so hard in that direction that it
It
kind of
goes-
works?
Yes.
Okay.
It goes so hard on it.
But is it unintentional?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it is
But
unintentional.
that game worked. I like that game. It's good. It's good Need for Speed. Man, I gotta play Horizon now. Shit.
The next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about Gears of War 4.
Yes. Tell me about this.
Yeah. I am having a grand time with Gears of War 4.
It's so bad.
And
When
part
is
of-
it out? First of all, before we
right.
start this whole early access,
Ultimate
early
edition.
access,
Yeah.
ultimate access, pre-program access, you're an insider access. There's so much noise.
Yeah.
I have no idea
Yeah.
when Gears of War 4 comes out. That's
Sure.
on you, marketing team.
I do feel like this is kind of like a new standard thing that I didn't know about until I participated in it, where like with Forza Horizon 3 and Gears of War 4, you can buy a more expensive edition. So it's $100 and you get extra stuff, but you also get early access.
It's like 4 days. I think
Yeah,
they give you 4
They
days.
give you 4
days.
days, so you can start playing it at midnight on Friday, and so you get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then it comes out.
So the game is out this Tuesday.
So I bought the $100 edition of Gears of War 4
Yeah.
because I was like, I just need to play some Gears.
Yeah.
And I did it. I fell for it. I bought that big thing, and so I got to play it, Thursday night, Friday morning.
Okay. And so it comes out this coming Tuesday, officially.
Yes. So the standard version
Okay.
unlocks on
Good.
Tuesday.
I'm ready.
Are you playing by yourself?
I have been playing by myself. Yeah. But
That bums me
Little
out.
Metroid
Yeah.
situation over here.
Yeah.
But
Gears of War,
yeah.
I feel like is meant to be played with
Yeah.
people.
well, the reason I did that is because I wanted to stream the first hour. Like I
Oh,
want to
okay.
start
I gotcha.
having more immediate coverage of things, and so I just hopped in there. But yeah, I'm down to play with people. Somebody said they wanted to play horror mode, and I really want to do that.
Hormones are a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you guys want to. There's 4 players, so there's room for all.
So if you buy it, you get it on PC too, right? Is that how
Yes.
it works? Cool.
Yes.
How's
and-
the PC version? Sketch? Like
Oh no!
all the other?
No!
Way better?
No, not just like, oh, this is a good PC port.
Yes.
It's, excuse my language, it is fucking glorious.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. I'm
All
playing
right.
on Ultra locked 60. It is like butter. You're there with your Lancer just shooting guys. It feels so good. Like
Excellent.
that 60
And
frames
you
is
played
so important
Xbox
to Gears.
also? You sampled
I have
both?
not sampled
Okay.
Xbox. Xbox does run at 30.
Okay.
PC running at 60.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's a big deal.
There's
And
nothing
it's-
more
Damn.
that makes me more happy when a PC version of a game is good, actually.
At launch,
Yeah,
too.
at
It
launch.
comes out.
Yes.
Yeah, and I do want to say like
Finally.
how good it looks. Like early on in the first act, you're going through like this like almost manufacturing plant sort of thing. There's like these robots are coming, they're exploding these giant sparks. You have these giant pistons going dum dum, and you're like, oh man, that Gears of War popcorn action movie spectacle is on full glorious display here.
Yes.
And holy cow, does it feel good! And
How was the dialogue with the characters? Because Gears of War dialogue was always hilarious, I think,
Yeah.
in unintentional ways.
yeah. So here's my opinion on
Dom!
yeah.
No!
So the
Bring
thing-
it!
With Gears of War dialogue, it was like bad in a way that became endearing. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
look
yeah.
forward to
Yeah.
saying like Marcus saying like that's what Rob. Like
Yeah.
I loved that.
Coal train's coming. Yeah,
They
so many
echo
more letters.
those.
Yeah.
They copied those catchphrases.
Uh-huh.
But you're fighting robots in the beginning, so like that's
Robots?
1 DB down.
Robots?
Yeah. Okay. So
No spoilers.
Robots?
All right,
No
we're
spoilers.
getting. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about. It's not a spoiler. I know it sounds like one, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Okay.
Sounds like a spoiler.
It.
Do they come apart?
I
as-
have to say this point.
do it.
I'm
But do the robots explode as well as they do in binary domain?
okay. So
Great question.
not quite, but I did feel like for the first 2 acts of Gears of War, I was in my own way playing this weird binary domain sequel.
Sick,
I was like,
okay.
this might be the closest I get to a binary domain too. And this is satisfying in a way that kind of doesn't have anything to do with Gears of War. So if you're looking for a binary domain 2
Yes.
sequel, this kind of
The first, like,
Yeah.
of it, at least.
yeah.
Awesome.
And they actually do some things. Like, I didn't think I cared about the Gears of War story, but they actually kind
Oh.
of do some things with some old characters that I'm into. And they have these conflicts. Like, things have changed. Like, it's a long time past since Gears of War 3.
15
and
years, I think, right? Or like
I think it's
10
20. I'm not 100% sure on that, but they throw you into this situation where they make it immediately obvious that there are new dynamics at play and things have changed, and the forces that you thought were one way are now acting in a totally different way, and I'm interested in it. But I feel like Gears of War, they like introduce that stuff and then they just kind of keep running, and they never have that moment where they're like they tie it all together and you're like, oh, okay, now I have a full appreciation for what's going on. And maybe that will come at the end of the game, but right now I feel like we just needed that one scene that really drove it home in a
Yeah.
powerful way, and I just that hasn't quite happened yet. As far as the dialogue goes, it's not great, but I don't think it's like terribly bad either. Like it's good enough for me to have a good time shooting things.
Yeah.
I will say though, fighting the robots is kind of awful because of how generic they feel. Like it's not awful. Like it's
binary
fine.
domain too, though. You got me so hyped.
Yeah, but fighting these robots has made me think about something that I've never really thought about before, because like they're fighting you and they're like, enemy detected. It is like somebody took the most generic sci-fi, like, okay, we're gonna have these
What a
robots. What are they
robot
gonna
is.
say to you? How are they gonna look?
Human.
And
Stop.
it's just, you know, I'm not saying that these people are lazy. Like, Gears of War 4 does so many really, really, really cool things, but I feel like these enemies don't have the identity that the Locusts have. I'm not saying that the Locusts are the most interesting dudes I've ever fought, but their armor, their style,
Yeah.
their culture,
Dude.
they had a culture, right?
yeah.
And when I'm fighting these robots, again, I've only played through the first 2 acts of the game. But that's just not there. These are just things that are coming to kill you.
Yeah.
The one cool thing I will say about these robots, they're called BDs, is they drop from helicopters in like these like spherical things that have like hexagonal plates, and they just like crash down. And it's like boom, 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 and then the robots pump out.
Cool.
So it's a pretty cool entrance.
It
But
was like
yeah.
Gears of War 3 or maybe Judgment, when like there's other enemies, not the locusts. I love that dynamic when like you don't
Right.
see locusts for a while and then they show up. It always has like a big impact.
Third party.
That
Yeah.
does play into it here. There is another,
Third
Third
party.
party.
Yeah.
Love third
Yeah,
parties.
it's happening.
Love
but
it.
there,
The Swarm?
Yeah.
the swarm. Yes.
Dude, I
Yeah.
forgot
Let's
all
not-
about those.
Let's avoid
Okay,
spoilers.
no spoilers.
Let's avoid
Okay.
spoilers.
All right.
Dude,
But
pumped.
kind of going back to that Uncharted thing with the robot enemies, like you have the regular dudes with their machine guns, and then you have the bigger dudes, and then you have the flying things. It's just, you know, again, I didn't realize how cool, like the Theron guards with their like weird bows that would shoot exploding things on you. Like I think the locusts were more immediately striking. And early on, you kind of have this flashback where you're fighting the locust,
Yeah.
and you have this like giant corpser pop out of the ground. And you're like shooting a hammer down it, and you're like, oh yeah, Gears.
Dude,
It's pretty cool.
Locusts.
Yeah.
Great enemy. Underrated enemy. I've
Yeah.
been underrating it.
The Locust? Yeah,
Love
they're
the
cool.
locusts.
I love the
Yeah.
conversation about enemies. Some enemies
Yeah.
just feel good to
Boomers coming
to
in.
chainsaw apart.
They always feel
Yeah.
good to kill.
God.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's such a it's so good.
The dudes with like this thing.
Yeah.
Enemies you feel no remorse for slaughtering is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, they blew that guy's head off.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Gears of War 4, and I know you hate this, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
Do it.
I actually think so far has had really good pacing for me.
Sick.
Like, you're just doing something. You're never doing something for too long. I feel like they at the beginning of the game they have this series of flashbacks that has you doing a bunch of exciting things, and then suddenly you're playing against these new characters, figuring out these new enemies, and then suddenly you're meeting up with old friends
Yeah.
at this place that means a lot to these characters, and it just moves. It just keeps going, and you to the point where like, oh, I want to see what happens next. And man, good set piece moments really stick out, and I've had some set piece moments in Gears of War 4 where I'm like, it feels good to get that big blockbuster game again that nails this aspect. I will say, and I think a lot of people will bring this up, Gears of War 4 absolutely feels like a Gears of War game. Like there's mechanically there's nothing in it where I'm like, oh man, like that is a twist on Gears of War. But it's been like 5 years
Yeah, it's been a
since
while.
Judgment.
Has it
And
And
been
so
Judgment was the worst one.
it falls into this hole where it's like kind of okay. I haven't had that
been long
Gears
enough.
drip.
Yeah.
I haven't cut things up
Yeah,
with a chainsaw in so
totally.
long.
Also, not a lot of third-person shooters out there.
Not a lot of third-person shooters, and so
Yeah.
it's like Gears of War 4 feels like the right game at the right time, and holy cow, I'm glad that it runs so fantastically on PC.
Nice.
Nice.
Hype.
So that's Gears of War 4.
So pumped.
Okay. I don't know what I got to pick one last game.
What are our options? Do you want us to vote on what the last game
Yeah,
is?
we're gonna vote.
Yeah, I think I know
Okay.
what you're gonna pick. So
Okay.
my final 3 options are Paper Mario Color Splash, Call of Duty 4 Remastered, and Overcooked.
Mario. Hands down, Mario.
Wow. Okay, I guess I'll vote Mario too, just so
Sure.
it's unanimous.
Well, what were you gonna pick?
I think Ben was teasing some interesting thoughts about Modern Warfare before we started recording. We'll save it. We'll save those thoughts. Let's talk about Paper Mario.
Okay, so I think we can save those thoughts because Modern Warfare, the remaster right now is only the single player, and I
Yeah.
think rather than having 2 separate conversations about the multiplayer and the single player, maybe we can just lump both those in
Sure.
a future episode. That makes
Yeah.
some sense. I played the first hour of Paper Mario Color Splash, and I had a really good time with it.
Oh.
I had a really good time with it.
Oh. Kyle doesn't seem happy about that.
No, I'm willing to give this game a shot.
Sure.
Actually, I think I'm going to download it this weekend.
I think it has some of the same problems that the Paper Mario games that I've played in the past have had. But talking again about looks, the last few Paper Mario and Mario Luigi games have been on handheld, and they've been great to varying degrees. But seeing that Paper Mario style in HD on Wii U, like, it's just fun walking around that world. Like, that papercraft style. There's a point where you're walking along the path, and there are these bunch of Shy Guys who, like, get underneath the ground, and they lift it up, and they trap you in this loop, and it looks like a Sonic the Hedgehog loop, and it's, like, kind of cool, because you have to flatten it back out again, and that's a fun process. And, man, like, that localization is so strong. Like, it is just sharp and witty. There's a Lost Levels reference that's pretty good early on. And it's legitimately funny. It's not like, you know, oh my God, redefining comedy funny. But, you know, I was smiling and chuckling along the way. And that just, I think when it comes to endearing you to a game, that does so much. A big complaint that I've seen, so the way the battle system works is, at its core, you still do the things like the Mario RPG thing where you jump on things and you have to time it and you can block attacks. That's all still there, but there's another layer. So you have these cards, kind of like stickers from Sticker Star, which is immediately very troubling. And what you do is, like, let's say you have a jump card. Like, you can't use an attack if you don't have the appropriate card. You get the card, you power it up by painting it. So on the gamepad, you drag the card up to the slot, you hold down to paint it, and then you are like, I think this is the unnecessary part. You have to hit the boxes like, the card is ready, and then you flick it up. And that's how you initiate.
Do you do this
attack.
a lot? Like, all the time?
Every time, anytime you do any attack whatsoever, you have to do it.
Even a regular attack?
Even a regular ass attack, even the weakest jump or hammer attack, you have to do this.
I don't like that.
I know. And so my point on it is I've seen a lot of people come out and say, this is awful. This has made me not like the game. I don't want to get into fights because of this added layer. I agree that it's totally unnecessary. I don't think it's adding a tremendous amount of strategy, nor is it fun, like, holding down and painting these cards and flicking them up. Like, that, the novelty wears off immediately. So it does feel kind of useless. But so far, I haven't gotten to the point where it's like, oh my God, I hate this. Like, I'm not angry at it. It's like, this is kind of annoying. So I've only played an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
So, you know, exactly.
Do you get gold or experience points for competing in battles?
You get...
If it's more paint and more cards, Ben, I'm almost out.
Yeah, you do. So you do have to have paint to power things up, and you have to run around the world to collect paint to fill things up.
No. This sounds
I just want to know that I'm rewarded for battles. Because that was a sticker star issue.
You're getting... I'm almost positive that you're at least getting coins.
Okay.
But...
All right, if we're getting coins...
If I'm wrong, please correct me.
There's a reason to fight. Yeah, there's a reason to fight.
So you need paint to open a door to the next area? Is that what you're saying?
Kind of. So, in the world... And I actually think this is super fun. So, in the world, like, one of the central things of the plot is colors being stolen away. And you use your hammer... And when you hit something with the hammer, it splashes color on it. And if it's like a red wall and you need a red hole, the hammer will automatically splash the right color on it. So it's kind of fun running around and seeing how refilling the color will affect this world. I actually think it's a good mechanic, and it is super fun to explore.
Sorry, the impression I got was kind of like, I'm getting nightmares thinking about it, is Chain of Memories card system, where how do you open doors in that game?
That's a Kingdom Hearts game, everybody.
You don't need cards... so far to do actions in the world. Like, the cards are just for combat and fighting things. And I think the cards would anger me a lot more immediately if the Mario RPG thing wasn't so fun. Like, timing the button presses to do the jump, or holding to charge the hammer, or blocking the attack, like, and having every enemy do a slightly different, like, quick time event like that. Like, even to this day, a lot of RPGs don't do that. And because a lot of that's still intact, the card thing's just kind of like, whatever. What is super annoying, and, like, Nintendo, you have to stop, is I was exploring the world, excited to uncover secrets and fill in cover, and you have this little friend, paint can friend, Huey, who's floating around, and he's like, hey, he, like, stops you, you freeze, and he's like, hey, man, if you need some help, just press up and we can talk and I can give you some guidance.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
Great,
And I'm
Huey.
like, totally cool. I'm
Yeah.
like, the first time that happens, I'm like, fine, no big whoop. Like 2 minutes later, it happens again, and it's like, no, I'm not lost. I'm fine. And even if it would have happened twice or even 3 times, I would have been fine. But
Oh no.
like
Sounds like
in a
Navi.
25-minute period, it happened like 5 or 6 times.
Oh, Huey.
And just shut up, Huey. Like, I'm not
Yeah,
lost.
can you turn Huey off or something? Like disable him? Please.
I was streaming and I didn't like go into the settings
God, I
checkout,
hope
so
you can
maybe
disable Huey.
this is like a huge complaint that can be easily resolved.
But that's the problem
Totally
with your
open to that.
game is when you want it to shut up. You're like, shut up.
Right.
That's
well,
a big problem.
It's just they give you a world with so many things to poke around in.
Yeah.
And like you think about Mario RPG and how that was kind of true too and how rewarding that felt. Like freezing you and halting that process interrupts the momentum, and it's like as soon as you do that, as soon as I have my mindset on something and you stop me, I feel like no, I don't want to do that anymore. Like you ruined my fun. Now I'm just going to move on to the next story beat. Like you need that flow motion, man. You need to just kind of
You need that Nomura flow motion touch.
You can't get immersed if suddenly like a stop sign is appearing every few seconds.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's my impressions on the first hour of Paper Mario Color Splash. I did really enjoy it. I want to keep playing, so maybe I'll
I'm
have more
hoping that
involved, more detail.
it's just the
impressions later
first
on.
hour, and that's why you're getting so many like tutorials and everything like that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Those things
Maybe.
you talk about, Ben, the environments and just how good it looks and the fun writing is
Yeah.
why I want to play it.
Yeah.
I'm so bummed there's no crazy NPCs like Thousand Year Door, obviously.
There are some really good NPC interactions.
Aren't they all just toads, though?
Okay, so yes, there are a lot of toads, and I think it's a problem that Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi just had, where it's like, why is just everyone a goddamn toad all the time?
Yeah.
Why are there not these weird creatures? Some of the interactions with some of the toads, though, are good.
Yeah,
They're
that's
worth
what
seeing.
that's what I'm in for. I'm in for
Yeah.
that. Just someone on Reddit had like a post of like a toad acknowledging that he's one of many hundreds of toads.
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of funny, but it's also like that point in games where the character's just like, oh, this again? It's like, hey, if your character acknowledges this, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're acknowledging your problem. It's you can fix it.
And they've been doing it for like several games in a row.
I feel like Toad's the easy, lazy way out.
It's
Always.
It is,
Every time
yeah,
I see
I
Toad
agree.
in something, I'm like, great. Like when he was in 3D World or whatever, I was like, great. Do we really need Toad again?
Okay, the way I feel about Paper Mario / Mario and Luigi is there's so much goodness there. It's like, imagine you have this layer of goodness, and then they like keep throwing things in to kind of get in the way. And it's
Sounds
like,
like
no,
Nintendo.
you didn't, no, just yeah. People were making Skyward Sword comparisons with Fi. Which one is it?
I think it's Phi.
Okay, with Fi.
Damiani says Phi.
And yeah, well there you go. And that's pretty apt. But yeah, again, I want to stress. First hour, opinions
Beautiful.
could change.
Yeah.
Don't know everything about the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
Here
totally.
we are in October. Still no word about the NX.
It's troubling.
It's coming by the end of the month.
No.
Lock it in.
Here we go again.
Officially
Okay, I
on
love
camera
this.
saying it. We're going to hear about the NX by the end of the month.
NX does not, if there's no NX information in October, you have to stream Outlast 2. The demo. It's 15 minutes.
The demo? Okay.
The demo.
All right.
It's 15 minutes long.
Okay.
Okay.
No, you gotta add something else onto it because he's gonna like make it lame.
No. I'll stream
fine.
a 15-minute demo.
It's 50. It's
However,
a legit 15
if
minutes.
there is NX news by the end of October,
Okay.
you have to do something for 15 minutes. You have to stream Dead Space 3. And not,
This is good.
Great,
This is
great
good.
pick, Kyle.
and the 15 minutes starts when you start moving your character.
All right.
That's a great pick.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll load up our old save game. I wonder if I still have it.
Ew.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, if you load that up, absolutely.
We were like, oh, I'm like, oh,
At
it's
least
so
halfway
lame,
through.
It's
dude.
just 15 minutes. It's just 15.
Oh,
Man, we're kind of moving with this
Really?
frame trap faster than I was expecting. I mean,
We've
we're
covered so
usually
many
dreadfully
games.
slow. So, it is time for this episode.
oh my God. I love that.
I mentioned to you
the
guys-
animation he does.
Before the podcast that I have two options with HOTTAKE, and I'm not sure I'm 100% satisfied with either one. And we've already been democratic to great effect during this
Okay.
podcast, so I'm gonna give you guys two options. and you tell me which one you like better. The first one is very simple to explain. It is a topic, and we discuss it. So we're pretty far along with this generation of consoles, and so I wanted to take a step back and talk about the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, and for the sake of conversation, including the Wii U into that. Where we are now, are you satisfied with it? Comparing it to the previous generation, how do you think it felt? Like just a temperature gauge on how you think this generation is going.
Okay.
So that's topic 1. Topic 2 is a game, calling it 2-in-1. So what I'm going to do is I have a list of what I deem to be exciting games that are coming out until from here until December 31st, 2016, and each of you has to pick 2 games that you think are going to be good or exciting or you're super interested in it, and you have to provide a reason why. Now, the trick is none of you can pick the same games. So your 2 games have to be different from your 2 games, from me have to be different for your 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have to pick one game that you think is going to be bad, you're worried about, or just have some general apprehension toward. Again,
Excellent. I like it.
I don't know if I love either of these 2 ideas, but that is what I came up with.
Okay.
Are we doing both?
No,
How long
we
is
got to
the
pick one.
list?
We have to probably take about.
No, I need to know what we're choosing from. How many games are on that list that we're selecting from?
I don't know the exact number.
At least 10.
At least 10.
Okay, and then we each get 2, no overlaps.
No overlaps.
But could my 1 be one of Huber's 2?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it can.
All right.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
I guess we're doing that then.
Well, no, we got to vote. We definitely got to vote.
I kind of want to talk about the first one, but I'll do
I like
either.
both.
I'm cool with talking about the generations.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay.
Whatever you guys are like more pumped to
There's
have a
some games I'm
conversation
passionate
about.
about.
I
this
think
generation.
so. The comments aren't disappointed that they missed out on a whole discussion. We
Yeah.
should flip a coin. We should leave this up to fate.
Yeah, let fate decide.
Okay.
Anybody
Let
got a
fate
coin?
decide.
Okay.
I
Oh,
no,
Ben's not having it.
Oh,
He's firm stand.
Nice.
I think Brad coming out and saying I want to talk about the 1st
Let's
one
do it.
you're right.
is better.
Okay.
So sorry,
I'm
comments.
sorry if you want to hear the second one, everybody.
But 2-in-1 is a pretty flexible game. We can bring that back.
I'm sure they'll both get mixed in somehow. We'll go off topic probably.
Yeah. I
Springtrap.
actually I have an
That's what it's
idea.
meant for.
I have an idea.
Final Fantasy 15 though. That's one of the greats.
I was gonna say that or Last Guardian.
Now you really riled them up. All right, here we go. So talking about the generation,
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and so I am not cynical about PS4, Xbox One, Wii U. I've played tremendous games on all of them. Like when I think about the games that I love, it is like the Forza Horizon 3, the Gears of War 4, the Bloodborne, the Uncharted 4. There have been some good times. I've really loved it. And there have been some great indie games. I've been playing way too much Overcooked, and that's been super fun. Not that that's not also on PC, but I think the thing that's troubling to me, and maybe this is an unfair expectation, something like when I think about the last generation of consoles, here are the 3 games that my mind immediately jumps to for better or for worse. BioShock, Mass Effect 1, and Portal. And I think you could make some arguments with BioShock, but in my mind, like those 3 games were brand new things, brand new names essentially, and took us to like places that we had not been before. And I do feel like, at least on a high budget level, there has been maybe that has been lacking a little bit, or at least the areas where it has happened, they haven't hit as hard. Like I think you could bring up the Order 1886 or Sunset Overdrive.
I think a thing with that is though that the last generation was so long.
But those came out early.
Those are early games.
Yeah, that's true.
Those are like the first 3 years. Yeah, is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Just comparing the first 3 years.
Yeah, I'm comparing the first 3 years exactly.
Okay.
Like
Portal,
right
you said
now.
Portal, BioShock, what was the other one?
Mass Effect 1.
Oh, okay. All right.
Whoa.
And I'm not saying you have to like all those
No,
games.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying,
But for sure, I understand where you're coming
for
from.
better or worse, those games had an impact and were new things.
On games.
Huge step forwards, not
Sure.
possible on a PS2 or
Yeah.
Xbox.
I
hear
think
ya.
a game like that had big impact this generation is The Witcher 3.
Yeah, and I thought about that. The Witcher 3 immediately jumps in my mind, but it does have 3 in the title, and Witcher 2 did come out on Xbox 360, and then
Yeah, but
Witcher
it's like
1 before that.
BioShock, System Shock, Underwater.
So, yeah, I thought somebody would bring up the System Shock comparison, but I think, like, I hear you, and
mean,
there are
they're different,
ideas,
yeah,
there are
definitely.
ideas in System Shock that kind of carry over into BioShock, but, like, Rapture is totally new.
I hate BioShock, and I can admit it's innovative.
Yeah.
It, changed video games.
Sure.
Was that hard to say?
Changed video games for the worst. Audio logs and oh my god. But yeah, it was a huge game. That was a huge game. I don't think we've had anything. Oh no, we have not had a BioShock yet in this generation for sure.
But does that bother you? I can say my opinion on it, but if you guys are like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I don't need that, So
I don't know.
I feel like that generation is about like innovation, and this is about refinement. Like, sure, online gaming was a thing way before Xbox 360 and PS3, but like that's really when it started taking off and kicking. Like, everyone was online. You're always online. You're playing like co-op games, multiplayer games, like Halo, Call of Duty. All that was happening, like, away from PC for a change. Which is something we take for granted in this generation. Like, online is nothing because, like, the revolution has already happened. And, of course, like, HD, so these games had a bigger impact. So I think the leap, this generation, the impact isn't there, but it's about refining genres and refining games.
I think the big leap everyone's looking for this generation is going to be VR. For sure.
Sure.
It's going to change how games are played forever.
Wow, that's kind of true.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, it's going to be a huger leap, I would say, from a lot of games. Like a game like Knights of the Old Republic to Mass Effect or something like that. Like, VR is like something brand new how we're playing video games.
Yeah.
Brad, you bring up an excellent point, because I think something that is very distinct about this generation is... Last generation, it was like, okay, we have this idea, and then we're going to build upon it and expand it. I feel like now we're just kind of transitioning.
Yeah.
Like, with the PS4 Pro and with the Scorpio, the way we understand consoles is changing. And so there's this clear breakpoint that I don't think was quite there with the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3. And I also think VR, because it's kind of not just on one platform, is another kind of breakpoint where it is a totally new way to experience games. And so, like, I feel like we're entering a phase 2.
Sure, yeah, I can see that.
It's going to be hard to remember this generation as one continuous thing.
I'll say one disappointment about this generation, though we should talk about VR for a second more.
Yeah.
VR gives us hangout games. I've not played Batman for very long. Most of it has been on camera. The menu, the start menu of Batman is cool to hang out in. You're just on top of a city, and I could just spend 15 minutes hanging out in there. And so, yeah, I think objectives of video games will change with VR. I think that it will change design. We don't need hordes of enemies to come attack us at the ends of levels with VR. You can just enjoy being in environments, which is crazy. Bring on walking simulators. I'm okay with it. But with this generation, when it was first announced, when Mark Cerny took the stage and told us about the PlayStation 4, it was pitched as this console that would be so much easier to program for than the PS3. PS3 was awful. Forget about it. Too complicated. This thing, games are going to come out faster and cheaper because everything is so simple, and that has not been true. Maybe cheaper. I don't know budgets. I obviously don't look at them, but there's been so many delays, ridiculous delays on almost every single big game. It's been crazy how inefficient we've been at putting out games. I don't want to blame publishers. I don't want to blame developers. That's just been a disappointment because that was a promise of the new generation that's not been fulfilled.
I think it was fulfilled in some ways about like the games run better usually on PS4 now.
Run better than
Xbox. Like Xbox 360 games were usually better.
Yeah.
But now PS4 games are usually better.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways, it is easier for companies to port over.
Than the PS3.
Yeah, like, just dodging the cell altogether makes everything a lot faster and easier to port.
Well, this isn't necessarily pinned to a specific generation, but I do think it is unacceptable how, like, every year, since the start of this generation, there have been high-profile releases that have been broken. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that just keeps happening, and that has to stop happening. As well, so yeah.
But keep this in mind.
Ooh.
Last generation did get any Last Guardian. We're getting it this generation.
Last generation No Kingdom Hearts.
No Final Fantasy 15. It's coming.
Shenmue is coming.
Shenmue is coming.
This generation wins.
This generation will be
Final
good.
Fantasy 7 Remake is
That
coming.
will be good is another thing. It's like
No Zelda last gen.
the Pro and the Scorpio, like you were saying about a new phase, I feel like right now is when like this generation is like stepping on the gas. Like PS3 360 took a little while. Like all the best games of
360
those.
took 1 year to hit the gas, man.
No,
Yeah.
I'm saying if you
No.
look back at the best possible games on PS3 and 360, a lot of those are later in the life cycle.
Yeah, but I would argue
The
that
three
if,
been listed.
yeah, I think if you
But
if-
Mass Effect 2 is better.
no, I think at the time though, people were like, they're maybe not, those aren't necessarily remembered as the best games because they had sequels that improved and made them better, or they had games that took ideas from them. Like Portal inspired so much, BioShock inspired so much, Mass Effect inspired so much. Like I think if you were to cut it off right there, people would have been like, yeah, we're gonna remember this.
Yeah.
You know, even so early on.
Pedal to the metal. Year one.
That's true. I just feel like maybe I guess it has taken a little while then for PS4 and Xbox One to pedal to the metal.
I know you don't like it when people only prioritize innovation, and I
Yeah.
think you have a very valid point on that. Like innovation isn't the only thing that matters. You can be innovative but still a very bad game.
Yeah.
But I do think
You know me so well, man.
like when you're
You remember
in
things I say.
when you're in a medium that is so reliant on technology and like design, innovation is really important.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be everything all the time, always, but you need it, and you need a good amount of it.
The innovation's coming in VR.
Yeah.
That's where I
Yeah.
think you'll see the most of it.
Half-Life 3 VR, it's coming.
Pedal to the metal, like pedal through the floor.
It's not coming.
It's coming.
Pedal through the floor was Bloodborne for me. Like
Yeah.
that's like boom.
It's an incredible
this is
game.
video
Bloodborne
games.
is an incredible
This
game.
is video games right
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
Okay, so bring up VR again. Reading reviews about PlayStation VR. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to really dig into it ourselves, but reading reviews about PlayStation VR, there's some worries about the camera tracking. You're like, man, they're using a PlayStation camera and move controllers, and you can kind of think to yourself, like, is that a limitation? You know, like, is
Yes.
that going to be a problem with design? You know, and I posed that question.
yeah,
to you.
it's the first model of
Yeah.
VR. Obviously, their next models will improve, but for sure, early adopter, you're gonna have a lot of bumps in the road, especially with new tech like that.
And
Yeah.
tech is growing so fast, I think you're already outdated, PSVR.
You
Especially
are.
coming out, like, it's already so behind the Vive and the Oculus. And PC is always praised for being able to iterate faster than consoles.
Right.
So it's going to be a big question of, like, are they going to have a brand new PlayStation VR, like, every 6 months or a year? Like, now that PS4 Pro is coming out, is that going to be the new thing? PSVR Pro, PSVR Pro 2, PSVR Pro 3. Like, are we just going to keep having
Yeah.
new versions?
I think we will with video games for sure.
Another question I want to bring up is you're talking about like that iteration of the console, the PS4 Pro. You're talking about whatever PSVR 2 is. The thing is with these items is like I've been seeing a lot of people saying like PSVR is so cheap. It's like in comparison, relatively, but on my own, when I'm like I'm excited for PlayStation VR, I really want to play it, but even as a super enthusiast, spending $400 on this,
$500, man. You
on
need
something
the-
that I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work out.
I mean, I'm waiting for
Yeah.
reasons like that. There's no killer app for
But-
me yet.
And the same is true of PlayStation Pro, but my question is, do you think that because of the price of these things, that by the time we get to the versions that are like, wow, people are going to be over it, you know, because like it's going to be so much time passed and the barrier to entry is so high that people will have kind of moved on by that point, or they'll already be so comfortable with what they already have?
I believe PlayStation VR as it is now will be this as it is for the rest of the PS4's lifetime. I think when PlayStation 5 is launched, it'll have a new
one.
headset.
Okay.
I really don't think they'll iterate anymore on the PS4 or the headset. I think they're done with those for the rest of this generation, which I don't think will last too much longer.
No,
Hubert.
yeah, you're probably right.
I think we got 2 years, 3 max on the PS4.
It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
2018, I think we'll see it.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. But Ben, to answer your question, I think PSVR is good enough. I think that, I think it does the job it needs to do. It's better than Gear VR, and it's better than whatever the Google one is, the Pixel Daydream. I think that it's like, it still does that effect. And it's funny to see complaints, I think, because the PC ones are so good, but it is still pretty comparable. It's it's pretty up there.
It's cheaper.
My biggest point of contention on that is
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7, playing that at E3, and how pixelated
Yeah.
that game is on PSVR. Like,
Yeah.
it is so distracting.
It's
It
grody.
is such a problem. And granted, like, the longer you're inside of VR, the more you adapt to it and kind of, like, pass it off, I guess, and adjust. But, like, that versus even that super low budget zombie shooting game on the Vive, like, being in that stationary game for like 2 minutes and with the lighting and the zombie guy just walking at me, in 10 seconds in a crowded room, I was infinitely more immersed than I was playing Resident Evil 7. I think a lot of it too is like art style. Like, Batman doesn't have a super realistic art style. It has kind of like it has something going on there where it's like my brain can look at it differently. So I think
I hear you there.
Like,
So the order that I played VR headsets is I played Oculus and then PlayStation VR and then the Vive, and I was so blown away by the Vive and just how good it looked and the freedom of movement.
The hands,
the
controllers.
Honestly, the other 2 headsets, you're right, the effect is there and it's still really cool.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to diminish that, but
of course.
It felt like a step, whereas I think the Vive is the closest to my craziest, this is what I want VR to be. Like, just the immediate, this looks so good, plays so good, is so accurate with what I'm doing. Like, pulling that bow back and shooting that arrow, it's like, wow.
And apparently the Oculus Touch things are pretty sweet, too.
Yeah. Okay, I haven't used those.
Those
so
controllers,
I can't comment.
Wait, how are the
comment on those?
what are they called?
PlayStation Move?
Yeah, how are those with?
They're bad. They're they're
bad.
They're
barely,
bad. Oh my god.
They're serviceable.
Oh no.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said bad. They're serviceable.
Yeah.
Like in Batman, you can still do the things that you want to do,
It's old tech.
but it's not as sick as the Vive, where just every little centimeter of movement is just perfectly
You
tracked.
like paint something and then you walk around, you're painting.
I don't know if you could do tilt brush on PlayStation VR. You know, I don't know if it's 100% there.
Talking about Resident Evil 7 though,
Yeah.
and I want to gauge your opinion on this.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, I think absolutely how good Resident Evil 7 is, and then how good it is in VR, will kind of really shape opinions on PlayStation VR as a whole. I mean, it's such a big series, it's such a big name, it has so many fans that if it comes out and it's an amazing experience on PlayStation VR, the attitude, I feel like the attitude to that platform will totally change.
I need to fact check this, but I read somewhere, I don't know if it's 100% true, but I did read somewhere that it is being ported to VR. It was not built from the ground up for VR.
I imagine that, yeah.
And that's always concerning.
Sure.
You know, creator's intent.
I don't know, Hubert. What about the kitchen, though?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think the
That
kitchen
makes a
was
good
like a
point.
tech demo, kind of like this is like an idea we could do with it.
The kitchen,
it could've been-
is Resident Evil 7.
Like
If you watch
what
the
I'm
kitchen,
saying is
Yeah.
like the kitchen could have been a pitch necessarily to the higher ups. Like this is like an idea we have for Resident Evil 7 kind of thing like that.
Yeah,
I don't think they're
that's
willing
VR
to
from the
bet
beginning,
that
though.
entire franchise on VR though. Not yet. I don't
I
think
need,
they're
I
there
need to
yet.
look it up, but
Sure.
I did
Especially
know
with
that.
hardware that's like not really readily available for everybody.
Yeah. I don't think VR is going to be a huge success.
I think it's gonna. I hope it is. Yeah, I don't know if it will be.
I think a bunch of dorks
think it's
like
gonna
me
take
are going to be
time.
loving it.
Yes.
But a bunch of people who care about gameplay, who care
Yes.
about just how games function, are going to say, this sucks. This has no advantage to me. People like me who like really care about like leaning down and looking into things.
Yeah.
We are going to love it, but we're few. There are not a lot of us.
The biggest thing is like,
I think both groups are extremely important though.
Yeah.
will your grandma buy this? You know,
That-
will
no.
your mom?
I
My
think
grandma doesn't have a PS4,
My
man.
grandma's not gonna buy a PS4,
like,
yeah.
will we hit that Wii zeitgeist?
Oh, I see what
No,
you're saying.
no, no.
Yes, VR. Like,
I think so.
No, no, no.
I think there's a bunch of guys in offices who are like, "Hey, VR, is this good?" I think there's a lot of those guys
yeah.
and gals.
No,
Well,
okay, but that would be so infuriating because and rightfully so, the Wii widened the audience, and that's important, that's valuable. But I think kind of the development response was really infuriating, where they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna make these garbage games that are on Target and Walmart shelves to appeal." Like it. Just because you get a wider audience doesn't necessarily mean you have to make trash. And seeing that happen with the Wii in such a high volume was infuriating.
I love the Samsung commercial, the VR, where the woman has it on and she's like weeping. Mm-hmm. It's like, what are you watching?
And it's just a cell phone, man.
yeah.
I've been there though.
What are you watching?
I was like weeping at Batman at E3. It's just so surreal. It is so incredible.
But I think when VR does take off, like, so many things on VR are going to be huge that are not video games. And when people, like, I don't think people, like VR is going, like, there's a reason Facebook bought that thing.
Yeah.
And spent a ton of money on it. There's going to be things on VR that are, like, way different than video games. Like, people are, like, for example, you can go on a tour somewhere, like, around the world and walk around. Or there's going to be, like, a live concert you can do. It'll be, like,
That's-
three-dimensional. Like, VR is going to go in steps like that.
It's gonna be like Goldshire and an RP server. Bro.
That is my favorite thing with VR, is being a spectator, not being the like protagonist of something, not where I'm watching it and it's like a guy shooting a bunch of people. It's like really emphasize the spectator part of it. Like you're saying, a walking tour. Like I want to be an observer in VR, not the central component.
Yeah.
So I'm like going that way with it. That's what I love. Like,
Yeah.
so many places you can go and things you can do. Like, you're talking about racing, like underground street racing scene. Like being there and then like having someone talking to you and being like, "Yo, here's where we are. Like, check out these racers over here. Like, this guy has this car. Like, doing this." Just like being part of cultures and scenes that you wouldn't have access to otherwise.
Think of when sports start doing it, Kyle. When the NFL...
Sports have started it.
Yeah, like when it becomes like even more widespread, like NFL.
Umpire, dude, and there'll be umpire wearing like something so you can like be behind home plate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Final question to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Before I move on. Imagine an alternate world that we all exist in right now, and someone comes out to you and they provide overwhelmingly compelling evidence that you can choose right now to live in this amazing virtual world. You have to leave the real world behind, but you get to take all of your loved ones with you.
Okay.
And you can just live in this digital paradise where all of your wildest dreams could come true. Do you say yes?
So which, you take the red or the blue pill?
Exactly.
I
It's a red or
have
blue pill situation. Kind of.
I've recently just read Ready Player One, so
Yeah.
my answer is no.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the red pill was the pill where you see the real world.
Reality.
I'm becoming Neo. I'm doing that one.
Okay.
Kyle's going in
The thing is, I don't want this world where everything you want can happen. I think that's bad. I think that's bad for you.
Yeah, but what if I told you that there was another like insidious layer to this? So like if you wanted to feel like you earned something, you could simulate that.
So there's an antagonist in the other world that I can defeat.
Yes.
Okay.
but it's still fake.
Wait, is the real world this world we're in right now?
No.
It's like
if you like,
post-apocalyptic?
and the thing you can like change it. So let's say one day I wake up and I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna walk through the Shire. Suddenly the Shire appears.
No, we're talking about
We're
like
talking
the
about
real world.
the choice I have. I can go into VR world or I can stay here.
You can stay here.
Right
It's
here,
our
right
actual
here.
world?
The
Okay.
actual
Okay,
world.
Yeah.
it's
But
not Matrix
if you
world.
stay here, no more cheeseburgers, no more pizza.
You
All-
can't just do
all
that.
food is gray and tastes the same.
That was not part of the
Sorry,
deal.
That's
green,
part of the deal.
baby.
That has to be part of the deal.
But then you're not even really eating anything.
And in
digital.
virtual world, food is so good.
It's fake digital crap.
Yeah. So
But
Ben,
you don't
here's what I
know.
want. Here's what I'll do to go
Okay.
to jack in.
Okay.
My friends and family, I know they won't do this, so they have to be out of it.
Okay.
But if the antagonist says you can save 100 lives if you jack in for the rest of your life, I'll do it.
You
All
just
right.
keep adding things onto this, though.
He says like,
That's fine.
play my game. I'm looking for volunteers to play my game. I'll do it. I'll play his game. Knowing I won't
like
come
it.
out, I'll save those 100 lives. I'll save 2 lives.
You get to be the hero of the digital and the real world.
Of 2 lives. I'll even do it for 2. 1 life, no deal.
But what if that was part of the illusion and it wasn't true?
No deal, Kyle Bossman.
All right, maybe. It depends on, like, do I see the life? Does he show me the person that I'm saving?
No.
No.
Random person.
I think it makes it more meaningful.
It
if he
does.
doesn't.
Then I probably do. But what if it's just a horrible
Like what? Yeah. What if you're
person's
saving
life?
like
What if
some like serial killer?
I feel like
Yeah.
now we're getting
Saved
into
ya.
a different moral quandary,
Yeah.
which is good.
That's the way this designer plays the game, though. He's
Yeah.
like, it could be a serial killer.
He's Jigsaw.
Yeah. There's a 30% chance it'll be a serial killer. Will you still save the life?
And if it's the serial killer, he'll kill more people.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I am jacking in day one. I'm making the world look like Dragon Quest VIII. I'm running through it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's my.
And your
opinion
friends
on
and
that.
family are like, Ben, why?
But they can go off and make whatever they want. It's
Yeah.
all good.
All right.
All
They're
right.
like, this sucks. There's no electricity or anything.
It's time for wonderful, wonderful emails from our wonderful, wonderful viewers.
Yay.
I'm excited. We got 3 emails today.
Cool.
If my iPad will work. And it worked! Okay, here we go. Gotta open that. I need to find a better way to do this.
In
I
Ready
really
Player
do. This is
One,
awful.
then there's like all these planets in the digital world that you
Yeah.
can go to, and all like the planets are a lot of them are like based off of a game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, all right, going to Azeroth.
I feel like Ready Player One is an important work that I need to read.
Yeah,
Okay.
An
you'd be
important
obsessed.
An important
You'd finish it in
work.
like a day.
Ooh, I like things that I can finish in a day. Our first email comes in from Eric. He says, "Hello, allies. Greetings from Bakersfield.
Hello, Eric.
In the past, the industry was flooded with platformers, fighting games, and racing games. It looks like we got too many too fast and got tired, to the point that there's only a handful of them left today. Do you guys think this could happen to open world games and first-person shooters, since we've been getting a lot of this recently?
I'm feeling open world fatigue. Period.
Well, yeah.
Period.
What is it about open world that is fatiguing you?
The checklist nature of all of them. All of them are checklists.
I can't tell you the feeling I had watching the most recent Horizon demo for the PlayStation Pro reveal. Realizing that the huge Stegosaurus with the
Yep.
flat head
It's
is
just a
just a
radio tower.
walking tower.
Yep. It's just so artificial to
You
me.
hack it, and then it shows you the rest of the map. I'm like, that's what those are? From the concept art 2 years ago, they were
Yeah.
just towers?
And I think like
That's such a bummer.
Yeah. And it's so unfair to compare open worlds to Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games worlds are alive. Like, they make the world and then put you in it. And I feel like so many other open world games are artificially creating tasks within it. Where, like, open worlds lately have not felt alive to me. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of times what gets emphasized is it's like there is so much for you to do, and it's the minute that you start prioritizing that, it's like no.
Yep.
I think everything has to be meaningful in the world. Feel like you're doing something like,
Witcher.
for example, you love.
Witcher.
Everything is meaningful in The Witcher, are you sure?
No.
Not everything, no.
And
No,
the
no.
thing
But I'm
is-
saying it's a good open world.
Okay,
I don't think.
But I feel like that was kind of the end of it, where like, all right, I just had GTA 5 remaster,
Yeah.
got to play that again, incredible. Then I played Witcher 3.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm good now.
You're full.
Like, I'm so full.
I don't
What were you
think.
saying though? The game I like?
Watch Dogs. The payoffs.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good game or anything like
Yeah.
that. I don't really care for it, but he loves the
I do.
payoff
I
at the end.
do. I do like Watch Dogs because when you finish a group of menial tasks,
And they are menial tasks.
they are full checklists. They give you something when you finish all of them. They
Yeah,
give
yeah.
you just a little bit of something.
That's actually the point I wanted to bring up. I think saying, okay, if you have a huge world, every single little thing has to be meaningful, I actually don't think that's true. I think you have to have enough meaning. You have to have a center that you care about. And then whatever it is, even if it's simple, even if it's just checking things off a list, if it feels rewarding to do that and you have that meaningful juicy center, I think that's a perfect
That's what I
combination.
meant by it, though.
Yeah,
Like,
okay,
I don't want to do boring tasks over and over to like, reveal more of my map or something like
Sure.
that.
It's just rhythmic now. Like, I don't know.
But I guess it's like a hard thing to do with open world because they're so big. And like how long that could take. Like The Witcher 3 took forever to make.
Yeah.
GTA 5
forever.
forever.
And so much money.
Yeah.
Only Rockstar in their position could make a game like that.
No one else can do that.
Definitely hard games to make. Every game's hard, but oh my god. Open world.
I'll tell you an open world game I'm looking forward to.
Yes.
The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Zelda
Yes.
is the best. But boy, am I scared of Zelda becoming a checklist.
No way. No way.
Like, let me get this plus 1x. Let me go in this cave and get this plus 2x. Let me go in this cave and get this plus 3x. Plus, let me get all these crafting materials. Like,
There will be subquests.
yeah, and that's what
Isn't
I
that
mean.
crazy?
It's like, yo, Ganon is taking over the world or whatever. Huge impending force, like, devouring this world. Oh, let me go in this cave. Oh, let me climb this mountain.
but I think you're just automatically assuming that stuff's not going to be awesome, though.
But also, Huber, you can go straight there in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Like, and the thing about Breath of the Wild that I love and playing at E3 at hammered home so much is it's not like you're just collecting things and not thinking about it. Like, I remember getting into fights and it's like, oh, I don't have any weapons because they break so easily. So I have to like every fight is like this little improv where I have to, there are moments where I have to scramble and think on the fly, and that's so cool.
That is cool.
It makes like those plus 1 or plus 2 weapons feel valuable because the game actually takes them away from you sometimes. You know, and I think that's totally different than just being like Aiden Pierce, who, like, no matter what, is like way stronger than everybody
Watch Dogs comparing to Zelda, please don't.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to make a point.
But yeah, I think to make a good open world, it's just make every little interaction somehow different. Good secrets.
Good secrets.
Okay.
Make you want to explore the world.
Yes.
Something amazing about Phantom Pain, truly amazing, is that moment where you do this dumb little thing that you had no idea that you could do that the game doesn't tell. Like when you slide down a hill in that cardboard box, or like the ways that you can distract guards. Like, it feels alive because you're surprised at how you can play with it. I think that is going to be in Breath of the Wild.
Perfect. I didn't get to play it.
Attack this from any point.
Right.
I love that.
Set this forest on fire. Like, here we go. What's going to happen? Like, get on your shield and slide down the thing. Like, that was some of the exciting talk about E3 is once people realized they could do crazy stuff, they just started experimenting on all these interactions that we didn't think were there because we didn't see them in the trailers. We're totally there, and that's really awesome.
Breath of the Wild absolutely has towers, though.
Yeah.
Wii U compromised.
True. Definitely true.
Sometimes I think you just want to say Nintendo compromised.
What if it's the best version?
The Wii U version?
Yeah.
That'd
What
be
if the NX is
crazy.
this goofy little handheld
Bad
that
port?
has a worse port
Oh
of
my goodness.
Breath of the Wild? What a weird world we live in where we don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
You know who does?
Who?
Miyamoto.
Is he in on
Wait,
that?
does he even know? Like,
Does he even know?
Does
Does
he
he?
know?
No,
I would give anything to lock you and Miyamoto in a room for like 3 hours.
And he's just like, he knows you talk shit on him.
Yeah. We would end hugging on a couch.
Oh,
it would all
No,
work
what if
out
he was
by
like,
the end.
start
what if he just like refused to talk to you? He's like, no.
For the first 2 hours. 2 hours of silence with Miyamoto, and then we just
Oh,
start
and he's like,
hugging.
what have you done? He's like, oh, I made Mario and Zelda. Mm-hmm. You just get your dumb little shit.
But also, like, steered video games. He steered them.
Yeah.
He was steering
He's
them.
like, you're here because of me.
Yeah. Everything you love is partially... I'm responsible for
Yeah.
a little bit of everything you love.
It's a Joker Batman I am you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Our next email comes in from Dano. I don't know. Dano. I'm going to go with Dano. Hello,
Dano.
allies.
Hey,
Here's
Dano.
a question to you that frequently came up for me and my friends. What is your favorite game that you've never played or finished? This could mean that you watched someone else play, you watched a playthrough online, or just couldn't come up with the time to finish the game.
I got mine.
Got mine.
The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Okay.
Never finished it. Love the game. Love the town. Love the NPCs.
What is stopping you from going back?
The UFO thing? I did the UFO thing. I did it. I did the whole mission. I successfully did that. I wasn't aware that I was supposed to talk to an NPC after that, and so now I have to go back again and then do it again to talk to an NPC after it.
Sure.
And that is simply too annoying for me.
Sure.
For me to 100% the game, I'm gonna have to fight all the bosses again. I'm gonna have to go through those temples and find all the fairies within those temples all over again. No. Cute world, cute design, but no.
It's cute.
Cute.
Brad.
Tactics Ogre, Let's Cling Together.
Nice
I never
pick.
finished.
Too cool, Brad.
Oh, dude,
That's
it's
a
so
good-
good, man.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It is.
that's
It
too
is.
cool.
It is.
I just never finished it. I never had a PSP. That's probably why. I think I rented it one time and I borrowed yours maybe, and I just never got to play it again. But man, is that game awesome. I should buy it. It's on Vita. You can play it on Vita, I think, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's amazing. Brad, I'm downloading Cling Together.
Oh my god, it's so good. If you like tactics RPGs, that is a must play.
Why wasn't that finished? though?
Matsuno is a
Because
god.
I don't own a
He's
PSP, and I think I rented it.
He's a
You got a
deity.
Vita though,
Now, that's what I just said. We were just talking about that. Now I
Yeah.
can do it.
but you're not going to.
Who said I might?
I say you're not going to.
Okay.
Brad,
That's fine.
I believe in you, and I think you're going to do this.
One day I'll do it, but right now I got Dragon Quest VII just staring at me.
I
I'm like,
believe in you.
I wanna play
I
Dragon Quest
believe in
7
you a
so
lot
bad.
less.
yeah.
I want to play 7 so bad.
Kyle, you will love it. You will love Dragon Quest
Yeah.
7. Please.
Oh, okay.
Please.
I'm in, Ben.
It's so good.
I got to do laundry at the laundromat tonight. I'll download it
You're
before I go.
sitting there
I'll do it.
federationing it up with these
Yeah.
dumb
Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
disservice.
Oh, I'm offended.
I like exploring. I like exploring 3D
Explore
worlds.
Dragon Quest.
The best place to explore.
podcast is progressively gone off the rails in
my
ways that
God.
I enjoy. Hubert, do you have a game?
Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah.
The game, never finished it.
Cool.
Love
Yeah,
it.
you love
Dude, when
that
that
You get
game
your
came-
chance. You get your chance next
I
year.
get a shot at redemption.
Yes.
For the remaster. When that game came out, I was just enthralled. I was like sucked in so hard. It was one of those games where the first like 3 or 4 days I played like 12 hours a day, and then I just stopped. Some life happened. Who knows? Probably like finals or something, and never went back to it. JRPGs are the hardest thing to finish because when you set it down for a couple days,
Right.
it's just so hard and intimidating to get back into.
It's like when you start an RPG, you're climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
And if you decide to take a break while you're
You're
gone, that mountain
slipping
gets
down.
bigger.
Yeah.
Figuratively gets bigger. Yeah. Yeah, good one. Mine is oh shit. I had it and I forgot it. What was it? I was gonna say
Wild Arms.
What a pick.
What was it?
Was it an RPG?
I don't even remember.
Oh my
I'm
god,
just,
then.
I'm no longer functioning. The functioning member has stopped functioning.
Tactics Ogre 2.
My backup is
Wiped his memory.
Yeah.
yeah.
Memory
Just like, yeah. Tactics are
I've just so many things you guys have said has made me so excited. I think I short circuited or something. Yeah.
It'll
So
come to you.
my backup one was I love it. I advocate for it. I pimp it out all the time, but I have not actually finished Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne.
Oh,
I feel really bad about it.
dang.
Yeah, it is. It's brilliant, but I haven't.
This
I
is
don't
a
know
good
why.
question. There's a lot of games I love and really respect that I've not finished or
Yeah.
even played.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, the guilt right
Digital
now. Okay.
Devil Saga.
Our last question. And I want to say, if you start your email like this, raises the chance of appearing on the
This is
podcast.
the first word, just Japan.
This is from Seth. He says, "Greetings from Iowa.
Okay, that'll do it.
I've never really gotten into racing games. That being said, Forza Horizon 3 has blown me away. It's one of those rare moments in gaming when one game gets you immediately hooked in a genre. For the first time, I've switched to manual controls and slowly turning off game assist. It's getting serious." I also wanted to read this because different perspective on why Forza 3 is so great. Question for the panel: do you have a game that pulled you abruptly into a genre? It's a tough question.
I don't mean to sound like I'm on a high horse, but I really do love like every single genre. I really cannot think. I mean, I guess Portal made me respect and look at puzzle games because I feel inadequate to solve puzzle games when I play them. Like they
Sure.
give me such a hard time. they're so hard for me. But really, every genre. I love racing, real-time strategy, turn-based strategy, RPG, shooter, like sports. I've been playing every genre like throughout my life.
I have one.
Nice.
So before this, I played a bunch of like specific types of strategy games. I would play like strategy RPGs like Final Fantasy Tactics or real-time strategy games like StarCraft. But there was a type of PC strategy game that like 4X, Civilization, Europa Universalis. Like I was like, I'm scared.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
I got assigned as a freelancer to review Civ 5 Brave New
Yes.
World. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just playing this until it makes sense. And so it was kind of a brute force situation, but I did play it until it makes sense. I ended up falling in love with Civ 5, and it like broke me into that genre in a way, and now I love a bunch of games of that ilk.
Sick.
So
I'd say the game that got me really, really into JRPGs, because I played the original Final Fantasy on Nintendo, but I never finished it.
yeah.
But Chrono Trigger is like what made me really like, these are my favorite games now. It's from like, Chrono Trigger, like.
But it never got better than that. It peaks at Chrono.
I mean,
yeah.
there's like Chrono Trigger. I think is like a masterpiece, pretty much. But
Yep.
there's games that are like maybe not as good, but are not my favorite. Mm-hmm. Like I love Final Fantasy 7. Like Final Fantasy 7 was also like another huge. I'm like,
Oh, man.
yes, this
Heck
is
yeah.
another like confirming it right now for me. And like Final Fantasy 6, I'm like, yes, this is incredible also. But I think Chrono Trigger is like what really got me like on the upswing with it. It changed my life kind of thing too.
I guess like Resident Evil made me obsessed with video games in general.
Sure.
But like survival horror probably.
Yeah, but I played Alone in the Dark on PC before that, and I was super into it.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't like figure it
I feel
out.
like Resident Evil was like a Metal Gear Solid experience for me, where it transcended the genre where you're like, I love video games. Thank you,
Yeah,
Resident Evil.
yeah.
You are filling me with constant
Yeah.
effervescent joy.
Euphoric dopamine.
Yeah.
Whenever every door opened.
All right, so I got for RPGs, Pokemon was the first RPG I played, but Final Fantasy IX made me so excited to play RPGs. That was the first RPG
Yeah, dude,
I played.
awesome.
On a console. I felt so excited to play this game, and I was like, wait, why does everyone in the party get experience points? Because all it was Pokemon ahead of that. Anyway, obviously I played a lot of more Final Fantasy games after that, a lot more, I guess, JRPGs. The first ever Western RPG game I ever played was Mass Effect 2. Because I got my job working at GTTV, the Game Trailers TV show. And so it's like, oh, well, video games is my job now. Everyone loves this game. They're all saying it's the best game of the year. I'm going to hate it, but I guess I should try. Just every like, ugly faces.
Yeah.
Every single Western RPG had ugly faces up to still.
I can't. Okay.
Ugly faces.
Yeah.
Why can't you make appealing looking humans?
What's the green guy though? He looks cool.
Yeah, he does look cool.
What's his name?
Come on, Ben.
Green guy Ben?
Are you
What?
trying to think of a Western RPG with good faces? Because
Thanos?
you can't.
No, it's
Thanos.
not. Is it Thanos?
Thanos.
It's not Thanos.
It's Thanos.
Is it
Thane.
Thane?
Love
Thane.
Thane
Good
Krios, I think
face.
is his name.
Thanos.
Thane Krios.
Not it.
Great face.
Knew it started with a T. Whoops.
Go ahead, hit us up. Give me one Western RPG with good faces.
I'm gonna make this a mission.
Yeah, let's get it.
This is upsetting.
I think right now, like Witcher's got good faces. I think
I was just
think
gonna
we
say,
finally
Witcher's
got
probably
there.
But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's weird now because what was good faces at the time is not good faces now.
No, you look at Final Fantasy VII; those are still good faces.
Like the cutscene
Really?
ones?
Mega
They're
Man
good-
Legends.
What makes them good faces?
Those are good
All right,
faces.
Mega Man Legends I'll give you.
Yeah.
give you. But Final Fantasy 7, it's just dots on a block.
Those dots are in the right spots.
Oh my god.
Each dot tells a story, man. Come on, man.
I get though, because those faces fit within the world. Like,
Yeah.
It all fits and makes sense, whereas you play Mass Effect and it's ugly.
It's
yeah.
no.
Like the faces.
The faces
I
are
get
ugly.
where he's coming from.
They're ugly faces.
I don't. All right.
So anyway,
We need to sit down with Mass Effect
Because it's
and
that,
go over this.
So-
it's like kind of Uncanny Valley where they're like
Yeah.
trying to be realistic
And they
faces,
scan actual
but they're
actors,
really
yeah.
like.
Sorry.
but despite those ugly faces, I loved every night I had with Mass Effect 2. I learned
Yeah.
to love what a Western RPG offers instead of a JRPG, and I don't know, branching choices and what else is a WRPG?
Well-written dialogue.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Comparatively. Yeah,
Comparatively.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. and I don't know, tinkering away with weapons and things like that. There are things I learned to like, and obviously, it's not the pinnacle of Western RPGs, Mass Effect 2, but it was enough for me to say RPGs can be non-Japanese. They can exist outside of that country.
I don't care what anyone says. Mass Effect 2 is
10 out of 10.
unreal. It's so
I
good.
really, really like the game. I'd still
10
stand
out
up
of
for
10.
it.
I would
I'd
too.
go to bat for that
Yeah.
game.
But those
I would-
faces.
I would die
But
for
those
Mass Effect
faces.
2. No, not really.
My player character had a good face. I made the system work.
I want to make a show called Faces. All right.
It's really simple. It's just like good, bad, good, good, bad, bad, good, good, bad. It's like a 30-second show.
It's a good show. That's going to do it for this
man.
episode of Frame Trap. I had a blast. I apologize. I think I got increasingly spastic as the show went on, so hopefully that wasn't too unbearable.
Look at those Morrowind faces. Like, gross.
Oh, the wood faces?
Fallout faces.
Ew.
Ugh. Blech.
Getting less fun, but thank you guys so much. Thank you, panel. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your passion, as always. Always good. Always, 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 always. If you want more of us, please go to easyallies.com. There you can find links to our Patreon, which is the best way to support us. You can also find us on Twitch and YouTube. We've got stuff going up there all the time. People cranking out good videos, good stuff. And I want to say, this is not related to Easy Allies, but yesterday, before the stream, my own stream, I watched the second episode of Dear Bosman, and I was laughing my ass off. I think it's amazing. I think you would enjoy it. Please Google your way to Dear Bosman and watch it. It's so good if you weren't aware that he's doing that. So, yep. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time. My cheeks hurt.